Welcome to Court TV on Crestview Community TV. I'm Ryan Hardy, your Crestview Community TV legal analyst, and today you're watching Docket Day. Now, Docket Day, last year and in previous years, it was the biggest court date. Now we've added a court date with pretrial conference happening the week before Docket Day, so Docket Day has shrunk down and gotten somewhat smaller. However, you're still going to see defendants who maybe have been in court for the first time. Maybe their appearance was waived at pretrial conference, which we spoke about in that video. But when someone's called to the podium, you're going to see, again, one of a few things can happen. They can enter a plea. At that point, the case would be over, and they'll get sentenced either today, live on Crestview Community TV, or they'll get sentenced in a sentencing hearing down the road on one of those miscellaneous dates that we'll talk about in another video. They could also ask to continue the case. At that point, it would get set to another cycle 6 weeks down the road. The last thing they could do is they could announce ready for trial. And that means, hey, we're ready, when we're going to send this case to a court date called jury review. And then from that point, the case will get sent to a jury trial. And I know that's what we all really, really love to see. Those obviously are rare. They don't happen a lot. But we all get excited when we hear that, ready for trial.
3 weeks from today.
And Judge, if I may go ahead, I'm double booked on Thursday morning, so I'll be a little bit late getting back over here. I'm not sure how big the docket will be, but I'll be back over.
Good. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Lane.
Next case, Judge, I have is Joshua Lee Lopez, 23 CF 474. The state this morning has offered a PTI, which I hadn't been able to talk to my client yet. I anticipate we'll get it resolved with the PTI. If the court wants to leave it on for Thursday so we can tell the court, or if we want to continue it, that's fine. However, okay, whatever pleases the court.
Let's just leave it on for Thursday.
Next is Darren Michael Plate, 23 CF 348. As the court may recall, Mr. Plate had been in the hospital. He just got out last week. He's being rehab right now. They're trying to teach him how to walk again. I have talked to the state. There's an offer on the table, but we probably need to continue this. He's not going to be able to get in to address anything anytime soon.
It's continued. So that's November 13th.
Katrina Puri, Your Honor, 21 CF 388. As we mentioned to the court last Monday, the state had indicated they were going to provide their final and best offer last Monday afternoon. We still have, unfortunately, not gotten that. There's 2 witnesses that are out-of-town witnesses that are the last 2 that need to be deposed. So if we can put it on 11/13, that'd be fine. It'll be ready for trial, as long as we can get those witnesses done by then.
I understand. Any objection from the state?
No objection.
Okay. So it's continued trial next time.
And lastly, Judge, I have SUCOM, SUKOM,
Yes, sir.
22 CF 1931. The state had made an offer. It was relayed last week. We're mulling that over. It was left on just to see if we could get it resolved for today, so we'll put it on November 13th. It'll be ready next time.
Yes, sir. It's continued trial next time.
And Judge, Mr. Mike Gates had asked if I would let you know that he's going to be a little late on his case today.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Next is Mr. Keach. Morning, Mr. Keach.
Good morning, Your Honor. One case on the docket, Jeremy Sainz, S-A-E-N-Z, 23 CF 1464. We can leave it set for trial.
Okay. Where's your client?
Judge, he resides in Texas. There's a waiver of appearance on file. All of the witnesses reside in Texas.
Okay. So is your client going to be here on Thursday?
I don't intend to have him here. Is a court ordering him to be here?
To the state? Well, how long is it going to take to try the case? You're going to be here on Thursday, then we talk about how many.
I will be here Thursday, yes, sir. I do have court with Judge Wells on a pretrial docket with several clients. I'll defer to the court if the court wants me here before that. I can be.
I'm sure you want me to Indian wrestle Judge Wells?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But,
Okay, just to the state, as far as the defendant not being present on Thursday.
We don't have any objections.
Okay. So I'll see you on Thursday. Be ready to talk to the state about how many days will it take to try. The state will have a better idea about when it'll fall, how many for the venire, and we'll talk about it on Thursday.
yes, sir.
Sounds good?
That's all I have. Maybe excuse me?
Yes, sir. Thanks,
Okay,
Mr. Keats.
thank you.
Good seeing you.
And is it okay if I come after Judge Wells, or?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. I don't want you to get in trouble with him.
Thank you.
It's my understanding his marching orders.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Flowers.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, sir.
Adam McCraney. Mr. McCraney is with us, Judge. And now that Mr. Noakes represents Mr. McCraney on another case.
Good. Come on up, Mr. Noakes.
Judge, on the matter, I want to make sure I have the right case number. On the matter on which I'm present, it's 22 CF 2546. There are depots set October 23rd. So we would be asking to continue this matter. And Mr. Noakes,
Judge, I'm representing 23 CF 227. We had extended it off to the state. I just got an email this morning, and they're not able to do what we're asking them to do, so we're going to ask to continue the matter.
Okay. Mr. McCraney, do you agree to the continuance?
Yes, sir.
You understand what both of your attorneys are doing on your cases?
Yes, sir.
I'll see you back here no later than November 13th, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, Mr. Fox. Mr. Geisel. Where did Mr. Geisel go? There he is, coming up.
Judge, if we can approach for a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, this is Chris Norman at Bulldog Bail Bonds. Our office is in Crestview, Florida, but we service 7 Northwest Florida counties. If you ever find yourself in a jam, please give us a call. We're here to help you out.
Congratulations, Crestview's very own Dixie Dan Powell of Powell Injury Law, for your recent jury verdict of $11.5 million for your client from a death and injury against an inflatable amusement company. Recognized in 2017 as one of the top 100 civil trial lawyers in the state of Florida, and Dixie is AB
Fellas,
and
I've got a
rated.
few more,
Dixie Dan
maybe 8 more attorneys before I'll call your case, but I just wanted to thank you for letting me know that last time.
Okay, yes, sir. Thank you.
Next is Ms. Dudley. Morning, Ms. Dudley.
Well, the first one I have is Demonte Dawson. And 21 CF 17 CF 1595.
Mr. Dawson, come on down.
20 CF 2270. If I may approach, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am. Morning. Oh, Mr. Dawson.
How you doing, sir?
Good, how are you? If you'll please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. You can put your hand down. So, Mr. Dawson, let me look at your plea agreement.
Your Honor, he's going to enter a plea as charged and admit the violation of probation. And then sentencing will be set for October 9th at 9 a.m. for the imposition of the agreed upon sentence listed in the plea agreement.
Okay. Good. Mr. Dawson, are you currently under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No, sir.
Have you ever been treated for any mental illness or emotional disturbance, or are you suffering from any of those at this time?
No, sir.
How far did you go in school?
Finished.
High school?
High school.
Yes, sir. Did you read the plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Did you discuss it with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Did she answer all of your questions?
Yes, sir.
Did you sign the plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that if I accept your plea, that you're waiving your right to trials by jury?
Yes, sir.
Do you believe it's in your best interest to enter the plea?
Yes, sir.
Are you entering the plea today freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Has anyone forced, threatened, or coerced you into entering the plea?
No, sir.
Has anyone promised you anything other than what's in your written plea agreement?
No, sir.
The other side of that, has Ms. Dudley or anyone else told you, Mr. Dawson, if you do not enter this sentence, this plea agreement, that you'll be sentenced to 20 years in prison or any other definite sentence?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what have they told you? Don't listen to my question, okay? Has Ms. Dudley or anyone else told you, if you do not enter this plea today, you shall be sentenced to 20 years in prison or any other sentence?
No. They told me probably a worse sentence, but no numbers.
Okay. They told you that you could be sentenced up to
Yes.
30 years in
I know
prison?
my
right?
maximum. Yes, sir.
Okay, but not that you would be sentenced if you
Yes.
don't enter this plea?
Yes.
Because I don't know what I'd sentence you to if the jury found you guilty, right? Okay.
Yes,
Just
sir.
wanted to make
I
sure no one's
understand.
coerced.
Yeah, that I understand. I understand.
Okay, you still wish to enter the plea?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dawson, I do accept your plea. I find that you're alert and intelligent, that your plea is freely and voluntarily entered, that you understand the nature of the charges against you and are represented by competent counsel. You're satisfied with Ms. Dudley's representation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Of whom you state you are satisfied. I find that there is a factual basis for acceptance of the plea. So your sentencing is set for October 9th at 9 o'clock. If you fail to appear at that time, then what's going to happen to Mr. Dawson? Is it going to be that he's pleading to the bench, or is it that he would just be held in contempt?
I explained to Mr. Dawson that if he, well, the law states that he's entering the plea. If he does not appear, the court can sentence him up to the max, and that he can also have a failure to appear, which is a maximum of 5 years as well.
Okay.
So he has been explained that.
Mr. Dawson, do you understand you could be sentenced up to the maximums that are at the top of your sentencing recommendation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so make sure you're here.
I'm here. I'm gonna be.
Thank you, sir. I'll see you then.
Thank you.
Ms. Dudley?
Now, our next case I have is Jeremy Peacock in 23 CF 505. There's a waiver on file. We had left this set to see if we could work it out. The state hasn't had a chance to look at what we were talking about, so I just for continuance.
Okay, it's continued. Yes, ma'am.
The next case I have is Andrew Scott in 23 CF 334. I also have a waiver on file. We had depositions set last week. The two main officers did not appear, although they were served. So we're asking for continuance on that one as well.
Yes, ma'am. It's continued.
And I believe that's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next, I've got a line item with Powell, Schill, and Short.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, sir.
Lawrence Schill for Bo Powell on behalf of Mr. Stephen Shorts, who's present. Mr. Shorts just retained us on Friday, and I spoke with the prosecutor about a one-time continuance. Case is a little old, but we were just retained on Friday, so we're requesting a one-time continuance.
Thank you, ma'am.
I didn't find him either.
So to the state,
Judge, we don't have any objection to a continuance at this point in the case, but we will be pushing the case forward from here. There's FTLE back and everything should be ready for that.
okay.
Understood.
Okay, so Mr. Short, I'll see you back here on November 13th at 9 o'clock. Stay in touch with your attorney. The rules of judicial administration require me to take control of my docket and move the cases forward. So that's what I'll be doing on your case as well as all the other cases.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Mr. Shaw, nice seeing you, sir.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Judge, is the public defender with you tonight?
Yes, sir. The motion to withdraw is granted, and Mr. Schill's office is appointed. Will you do a notice of appearance?
Absolutely. We're going to do that after we got through this morning.
Sounds good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Next is Mr. Dyram.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Hello, Mr. Dyram.
Mr. Metz is in custody, Judge.
Hello, Mr. Metz.
Your Honor, Mr. Metz is present, 23 CF 874. We're still waiting on some additional evidence that the state needs. I'd like to set him on a court date before pretrial. I believe the court may have October 16th available.
Yes, sir.
Can we put him on that day for a plea, if possible?
Okay, so we'll just continue the underlying case and then schedule it for October 16th for a plea at 9 o'clock.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Metz, I'll see you no later than October 16th. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Your Honor, I'm also covering for Mr. Garrett.
Thanks, Mr. Metz.
I believe his first case is Ryan Martin. Mr. Martin is present. Judge, Mr. Garrett is asking to continue Mr. Martin to the 11/13 docket. I believe the state does not object to that.
Mr. Garrett, Your Honor, just for the court's awareness, he reached out to our office this morning. He is extremely sick and has been, they believe it's food poisoning. He reached out to us the second that he started feeling bad. So that's why we have no objection, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Martin, I'll see you back here on November 13th at 9 o'clock, okay? Thank you for dressing up for the court. Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, the next case is Brandon Mallon. I believe Mr. Mallon is present.
And Your Honor, if I may speak, just because I've had discussions with both of the next two for Mr. Garrett. On Brandon Mallon, 23 CF 421, this is going to be a PTI. The state just needs to get it to Mr. Garrett. So if we want to set it for the 11/13 date, it should fall off the docket.
Okay. So, Mr. Mallon, if you're not accepted into pretrial intervention before November 13th, I'll see you on November 13th at 9. Thank you, sir.
And then, Your Honor, the next one on Mr. Garrett's docket that I spoke with Mr. Garrett about is Miss Bridget Massawi.
And she is present.
Hello, Ms. Masawi, come on.
22 CF 3103, and that is actually the same thing. We just need to get the PTI over to Mr. Garrett, but we have that has been agreed upon, and the terms have been discussed. We just need to get it over to him to get it signed.
Good, thank you. Ms. Masawi, I smile. PTI, is one of the best outcomes that can come out of this court. So I'll see you back here on November 13th at 9 if you're not accepted into pretrial intervention. Okay? Thank you, ma'am.
Your Honor, the next case is Rosales.
Eduardo Rosales?
Yes, I believe so, Your Honor. I don't believe Mr.
Zelaya?
Rosales is present.
Judge, this case, there's a PTI agreement. There's a couple of things, because of the specific facts and circumstances of this case. There are some standard terms that Mr. Garrett wanted us to remove. Like, because of the situation, he's not able to be employed. So we removed, just small things like that. And so I had to send him a new PTI agreement. So that just needs to be signed and that'll be entered, but he already has it.
Okay, so just continue.
Yes, Judge,
13.
and it'll fall off the docket.
It's continued.
Your Honor, the next case is Amanda Tyndall. I believe that is also a PTI agreement that was sent. It just needs to be entered. So if we can continue her case to 11/13.
Yes, sir.
The next case is Mr. Union. I believe he is present.
William Union? Hello, Mr. Union. Good, how are you?
Your Honor, Mr. Union is going to withdraw his earlier plea of not guilty. It'll be a plea to a misdemeanor driving while license suspended. He'll be given credit for time served, adjudicated guilty, and then court cost.
Okay. Mr. Garrett, if you'll raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you, sir. You can put your hand down. Mr. Garrett, so...
This is Mr. Union.
I'm sorry, Mr. Union, I'm thinking about your underlying attorney. Mr. Union, do you understand that if I accept your plea, that you're waiving your right to a trial by jury?
Yes.
Okay. You understand that you'll be adjudicated guilty of a misdemeanor?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions for the court or for Mr. Dyram or the state?
No.
Okay. Mr. Union, I do accept your plea. You're adjudicated guilty of the misdemeanor. You're sentenced to credit for time served. You'll also need to pay the court cost. Are they $270? $300. Mr. Union, how long will you need to pay $300?
60 days.
60 days.
Okay, is that long enough for you?
Yeah.
Okay. If you fail to pay it within 60 days, then it will go to a civil lien or judgment. Okay? Thank you, sir. Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir. Your Honor, the next case is Weaver.
Yes, sir.
I don't believe Mr. Weaver is present. That is a PTI as well. Is that correct? Okay. Judge, if we can pass Weaver to 11:13, I believe the PTI should be resolved by then.
Okay, we'll just continue it. Yes, sir.
And then there is one case that is not on the docket. Zach.
Is it,
Mr.
was that Mr. McLean?
Yeah, was he taking
Yeah, we handled him earlier. He actually appeared, he had written a letter to the court, and based on that letter, we had, the case was withdrawn by the judge.
What was the date that he said on, just so I can tell?
11/13.
11:13?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Judge, I believe that's all Mr. Garrett has.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
You too. Mr. McCaviges. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor.
The first case that I have on the docket is the State of Florida versus Cecilia Walker, case number 23 CF 1570.
Hello, Ms. Walker. Good morning.
And this is a referral to pretrial intervention.
Good,
She
okay.
has spoken with probation and I believe it's going tomorrow.
Good. Ms. Walker, if you aren't accepted into pretrial intervention, if the paperwork's not completed before November 13th at 9 o'clock, I'll see you then. Otherwise, you don't have to appear back in front of me, okay? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next case, Your Honor, is State of Florida versus Sean Longnecker.
Yes, sir. Mr. Longnecker, come on down. Good morning, sir.
What are they doing?
Good, how are you?
And this is case number 23 CF 1230. And asking for a continuance here, Your Honor. I was hoping to have this case worked out, but we were not able to reach a resolution, so perhaps next time.
To the state?
We have no objection to continuance, Your Honor.
Okay.
This is the first time up, I believe.
Okay. So you'll do discovery between now and a couple months from now, November? Okay.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Mr. Longnecker, I'll see you back here on November 13th at 9 o'clock, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
The last case I have on the docket is State of Florida versus Rincon Jr.
Yes, sir. Mr. Rincon Jr., how are you?
And we have a negotiated plea agreement to the lesser included offense
Please.
approach.
Thank you. Good morning, sir. If you'll raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. You can put your hand down. You'll just give me a moment. Okay. Standard conditions of just probation, that's what that means?
Yes.
It says- Okay. Mr. Rankin Jr., are you, did you read the plea agreement? Do you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Did you sign it? Did your attorney answer all of your questions? Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rankin Jr., I do accept your plea. Adjudication is withheld. Madam Clerk's going to ask what the statute number is for the lesser included offense of improper exhibition of a firearm. So does the state have that or not? You're sentenced to 12 months of probation. You'll need to pay the $275 in court costs. Have no contact with the victim. Who is the victim?
Sorry, I was looking up. Improper exhibition of a weapon is 790.10, Judge.
Okay. Thank you. And then who is the victim? Mr. Rankin Jr. also have to do anger management. You'll need to enroll in that within 30 days from today. And then I just need the name of the victim, and I think that's it.
It's gonna be Demario Houghton. First name is Demaro. Last name is Haughton.
Thank you. No contact with that person directly or indirectly. You can't post anything online directed at that person. You can't ask anybody else to tell that person anything for you. Okay. Thank you, sir. Good luck to you. Thank you.
Your Honor, the only thing that I forgot to mention to the state is that Mr. Recon Jr. lives in Louisiana.
And the court has no objection to you transferring your supervision there. Just talk to probation before you leave. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. It's a misdemeanor. Would it be better for him to go through probation or go through the private?
JCS, it sounds like, from what I understand, Your Honor, it'd be better to do JCS.
I would think everybody's nodding. So instead of probation, it's JCS. We'll monitor it. Okay.
Your Honor, the court may want to put on the record that it's okay with online reporting, which is for, I think that language is helpful.
To the state, do you have any objection to that?
To double check the terms, I don't necessarily have an objection if probation will let him. I'm not sure with like the no contact.
So
I'm not
if
sure
JCS desires it, then they can make online reporting?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Medina.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Good luck to you.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Have a nice day.
You too. Mr. LaPella. Good morning, sir.
I have two cases on the docket. Stay on this side, sir. Fine. First case I have is Lonnie Robert Lowitz. And if I could approach, Your Honor.
Okay, I don't see him on the docket.
LOWITZ 23
Yes,
CF
ma'am.
840.
When he said two, I've got three on my docket. Okay.
No.
Good. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Mr. Lowitz, if you'll please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. You can put your hand down. You'll just give me a moment to look at the plea agreement.
If I could recite the terms, Your Honor,
Sure.
just
Yes,
for
sir.
clarification. Mr. Lowitz, before the court, he's entering a no contest plea. As to count one, that count would be dismissed as listed in the plea agreement. Count two would be pleading as charged to felony criminal mischief over 1,000. That's a third-degree felony. Count three would be amended from disorderly conduct to reckless driving, which is a second-degree misdemeanor. As to count two, which is the felony, he'd receive withhold adjudication and 2 years probation. As to count three, reckless driving, that's a second-degree misdemeanor. That's a 6-month term of probation. He'd have a withhold for that as well. That would be served concurrent to count two, which would be a total of 2 years probation. $515 in court costs, $40 cost of supervision per month. The court would reserve jurisdiction over the amount of restitution, if any, and there'd be no contact with any alleged victim. Also, Mr. Lowitz would be allowed to early terminate after 12 months if all conditions and terms of the agreement are met during the course of probation.
Okay, when you said that the total probation is 2 years?
Yes.
Okay. So did you read the plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Did you discuss it with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Did he answer all of your questions?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Did you sign the plea agreement?
Yes, sir, I did.
Slowitz, I do accept your plea. Adjudication is withheld. Count one is dismissed. You're sentenced to 2 years probation on count two, 6 months probation on the amended count three. So the state will file an amended information, correct? Don't you have to file an amended information?
AJ?
Mr. Gomez? You're gonna file an amended information on count 3 on Mr. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor, we'll do that.
Okay. Those sentences, the 2 years and the 6 months are to run concurrently, run at the same time. You'll need to pay the $40 per month cost of supervision. The court costs have no contact with the victims. Court does award restitution, but reserves jurisdiction to determine the amount of that restitution if the state files a petition or a motion. Thank you, sir. Good luck to you.
Get your. All right, then I have Gary Maxwell, and that was a motion to continue, which I believe there was some communication with the court, I believe Thursday or Friday, or actually Wednesday last week, and I don't believe the state had any objection to it.
Okay.
That's correct, Your Honor. They had filed a motion for continuance, and then we actually also did as well, because we're going to have to be flying the victims down, so that benefits of the state as well. So we had to have no objection to the continuance for the next trial.
If I got a proposed order on that, I signed it last week. It probably hadn't shown up yet. Good. Okay. Madam Clerk's continue.
Yeah, I think for the record, it was considered a stipulated motion pursuant to the court's wishes via communication and email.
Thank you.
And the last matter I have is Mr. Alan Muller. This is 21 CF 730, and at this time, Judge, we're still set for trial, and we're asking for the second week.
Okay. So, Mr. Muller, I'll see you on Thursday. We'll figure out exactly when it's going to trial, how many days, how many we need to pick the jury from. So I'll see you at 9 o'clock Thursday, okay? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And that concludes my business, if I could be excused.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. Notes. I don't see Mr. There you go. Hello, Mr. Notes.
Morning, Judge. I've got Jennifer Gilbert. She's in lockup.
Okay.
Judge, the state emailed me back early this morning in regards to what I was asking on this case, so I'm going to have to file the motion to suppress her statement that was made. So we asked to put it on the pretrial for November 13th.
Okay. Any objection from the state?
No objection, Your Honor.
Ms. Gilbert, do you agree to the continuance? Yes. Do you understand what Mr. Noakes is doing in your case? Yes, sir. I'll see you back here. I'll see you on the motion hearing whenever Mr. Noakes sets that, and then the underlying case is continued until November 13th. So, Ms. Gilbert, I'll see you before November 13th, okay? Thank you, ma'am.
I'll be in touch. Judge, I think they're wanting to take somebody out of order.
Okay.
Judge, this is Misty Lynn Shelby, 23 CF 548 and 23 CF 575.
Yes, sir.
Judge, she has new cases that are currently set for pretrial on November 13th of 23. So I just asked to put this on for the same date.
Okay. Ms. Shelby, I'll see you on all of your cases on November 13th, okay? Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Yes, ma'am, you too.
Judge, I don't have one with me. I leave them in my wallet and I leave it in the truck.
Have a nice day.
Thank you, ma'am, you too.
Judge, I then have Brandon Lee.
Brandon Lee.
Judge, he called my office and said he was having a problem getting a ride, but he said he... So anyway, different person.
Yeah.
We just pass him for a little bit. I'll
Yes, sir.
talk about it and see if I can find him.
Let me know when you're ready.
Judge, I've got William Locke.
William Locke.
He's in. Judge, Mr. Locke case, I got an email back this morning from the state, and they're still reviewing some videos that the ones they've got, I guess, are not anything to do with the case at hand. So I just asked to put it on for November 13th, with the understanding that if we get it resolved, we can certainly find a date to bring it back.
Just for the court's awareness, Your Honor, what Mr. Neps is discussing is in the e.com folder that is attributed to this specific offense number. When you go in it, it has a lot of information that has nothing to do with this particular case. We're trying to work out and get the correct body camera because that will help the state it'll help guide us towards a resolution in terms of what we see on that body camera with a particular charge. So that's why we would request that it be set for the 11/13 day with the anticipation that it will be resolved before then.
Good. Mr. Locke, I'll see you back here no later than November 13th, but hopefully that information will make its way to Mr. Nopes, and the state will offer you something that you want to accept, and I'll see you well before November 13th.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Judge, I think we've already covered Mr. McCraney's next on the docket, but that was covered with Mr. Flowers.
Okay, yes, sir.
So then I've got Mr. McNamara. Judge, the state in the email, part of the email this morning concerned Mr. McNamara, and they were not able to, the state's not willing to accept the offer that we've put forth, and so this case needs to be continued to November 13th.
Okay, what are you going to be doing on the case between now and then?
I'm going to set a bond motion, that's number one. Number two, Judge, the burglary of the unoccupied dwelling is really the case that's got us hung up. I'm going to set the deposition of that alleged victim. I don't necessarily think he'll show up, but he might, who knows.
Okay. Mr. McNamara, do you agree to the continuance? You understand what Mr. Nopes is doing on your cases? I'll see you back here no later than November 13th. Thank you, sir.
Judge, and then the last case I have is William Morgan. The email this morning had attached to it, of course, it come in at 8:02, and I was south of Crestview. I was already south of Crestview coming to court. I didn't print it because I don't have the ability to print from down here. I hoped he had a hard copy. He does not. What if we just set him for Thursday? I've got to be here Thursday anyway.
What was in the correspondence?
Oh, it's that PTI.
PTI.
PTI agreement.
Okay.
Yeah,
Why don't we just continue it and then
it'll fall.
and then it'll fall before that, and then you don't have to come back on Thursday, okay?
Okay, we'll do that then.
So November 13th, if it doesn't work out, but hopefully all the paperwork will work out. Is there a way that Mr. Nopes can stop somewhere in the courthouse and get that paperwork and get it to Mr. Morgan before?
Well, I have like a small break on my docket. I can rush to the second floor and try to print out.
If you can print it out, we'll wait. I mean, we got other stuff I can do, so just hold tight. We can go print it out right now.
Thanks, Mr. Morgan. Yes, sir.
Judge, the last thing I've got is Jason Cobb said that he's got Raymond Morgan, 23 CF 44. It's a referral to drug court. He's got trial in Bay County.
Okay. So just continue it and hope that drug court picks him up? Is that what we're doing to the state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, it's continued.
All right, Judge, and I'll go check on this other gentleman, and we'll wait on the paperwork on Morgan.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Flaherty. Morning, sir.
Morning, Judge. First case I have is State versus Toriano Marsh. Mr. Marsh is present. Judge, this case had previously been set for trial. We're going to request to leave this set for Thursday with the understanding that if the case is not resolved via negotiated plea on Thursday, we would proceed to trial.
Okay.
There are still ongoing discussions with the state, but that would end on Thursday.
Okay. So, Mr. Marsh, I'll see you on Thursday at 9 o'clock. If it's not resolved then we'll set it for trial that next week, either next week or the week after that. Okay? Thank you, sir.
And next I have State versus Sanford, Blake Sanford. Mr. Sanford is present.
Okay. Mr. Sanford. Mr. Sanford got the coveted corner as far away from me as he could.
No, he's front and center. Judge, this case had previously been set for plea or continuance. We are going to request that continuance. There are ongoing plea discussions with the state. We have been in contact with the state, and we hope to have it resolved by the next pretrial.
Okay. And if it's not, you're going to be ready to go to trial?
I can't say one way or the other for sure on that, Judge, depending on how the negotiations go. We have had our depositions in the case, so I wouldn't anticipate any further need for continuance. So I would leave that up to the court.
Okay. So, Mr. Sanford, do you agree to the continuance? You agree to not going to trial this cycle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll see you back here on November 13th. I am putting trial next time, so if it's not resolved in the next cycle, then we'll be looking at going to trial at the end of November. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor, that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Okay, next is Mr. Sellers.
Good morning, Judge. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Mr. Sellers. How are you?
Good, thank you. Judge, as you know, got the report back from the expert on Raekwon Blackshear, whom I represent. That expert found Mr. Blackshear competent. Reached out to the prosecutor. I'm assuming it's Mr. Gomez. That's what the clerk's record indicated. I reached out to him once I read the report, but we had not had a chance to speak about getting this case resolved. I realized it was probably short notice for us to try to get it done today, but if we could just set this on your trial docket, I think he and I will be able to get this resolved quickly, and if we could bring it in earlier if we get it done.
Okay, so hold on one second. Because I don't have any homework that shows Mr. Blackshear competent to proceed, let me see if it shows up in the record. Mr. Blackshear, I usually try to do all the homework. I do all the homework that I know about, but I don't have that paperwork. I do see it in the record, so if you'll just give me a moment.
Did you file that report on Blackshear?
Yes, sir, I've got it, Mr. Sellers. I'm looking at it.
Okay, sorry.
I do find Mr. Blackshear competent to proceed. So, Mr. Sellers, you're seeking what?
Just to put it on your trial docket so that the prosecutor and I have a moment to try and get this resolved.
Okay.
And if we can get it done, I would think if he's got time to look at it within the next week or so, I believe we could probably get it resolved, and if we could reset it sooner if we have any time.
Absolutely.
Before you.
Yes, sir. So, Mr. Blackshear, I'll see you no later than November 13th, but don't be disheartened. Hold on one second. Don't be disheartened by that date. The state will get with your attorney, Mr. Sellers will push this, and if you wish to enter a plea next week, the week after that, we'll make time for that, okay? So hopefully I'll see you well before that. Yes, sir?
I would ask that he be restored to bond on this, since he's been found competent.
Judge, we're not prepared to argue a bond motion today.
Okay. Mr. Sellers, you'll need to set that bond hearing, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Blackshear.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Sellers. Okay, other private counsel, Mr. Drell or Mr. Gadland? Yes, sir.
May it please the court, Dustin Durrell. Your Honor, my first case is Mr. Aaron Mann. We can take Mr. Simpler if you.
Okay.
You will take Mr. Simpler first.
Good, thank you.
Your Honor, this is Mr. Travis Simpler. At this point, Your Honor, I believe negotiations with the state have broken down. We've requested continuance. I'm going to be filing a motion to suppress in the most recent case, and we need to schedule depositions in the older case.
Okay. Mr. Simpler, do you agree to the continuance?
Yes.
You understand what Mr. Drell's doing in your cases?
Yes.
Okay. I'll see you back here no later than November 13th, but hold on one second. Yes, ma'am.
Just for the record, Judge, at this point, the offer's gonna be withdrawn.
Okay. Mr. Simpler, do you understand whatever the offer was from the state, they withdraw it at this point?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. I'll see you no later than November 13th.
All right, next, Your Honor, I have Mr. Aaron Mann. Your Honor, this was a PTI. I have gotten everything signed. I need to get it over to Ms. Veras. I know it was set for pre-trial, but I have the signed PTI right here. It just needs probation signature and that initial meeting. That's been signed by my client and the state.
Super. So we just want to continue it to make sure the paperwork goes through?
If we can, Your Honor, yes, please.
Yes, sir. Let's continue.
And that was 11/13?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next, Your Honor, is Mr. Lenore Menardo. Your Honor, again, we've reached an impasse with negotiations with the state. I did file a motion to dismiss on this actually last week, and the state recently amended their witnesses with a new witness. If we may have a continuance to get that motion scheduled, and if need be, set depositions with the new witness that's been identified. And Your Honor, in full disclosure, I tried to set depositions with this witness before. We knew about him. He was never on the witness list, so I never pursued rescheduling him because I assumed the state wasn't going to call him. But now that he's identified as a witness, I think we need to track him down a little bit harder.
Okay, let's continue. Yes, sir.
And I believe that's all I have today, Your Honor.
Thanks, Mr. Durrell.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Mr. Catalani?
Thank you. Judge, I have one. Good morning, sir. I have one case on the docket, Your Honor, Mr. Jordan Saylor. He was left from last week into this week. May we approach briefly?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Crestview's very own Dixie Dan Powell of Powell Injury Law, for your recent jury verdict of $11.5 million for your client from a death and injury against an inflatable amusement company. Recognized in 2017 as one of the top 100 civil trial lawyers in the state of Florida, and Dixie is AV preeminent rated. Dixie Dan Powell works tirelessly for his clients, as is evident by this extraordinary verdict. If you're taking your case to trial, be prepared. Contact Dixie Dan Powell and Powell Injury Law, 850-306-2667.
Back Home Bakery Cafe is 2 blocks from the courthouse on Crestview's historic Main Street. We serve handmade pastries, espresso, and lunch items, and we're open Tuesday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., serving lunch from 11 to 2. We hope to see you soon.
Hello, I am Bonnie from Body Be Healthy here in Crestview. We have been serving the area since 1999. We're an alternative health food store. If you're interested in bettering your health, we'd like to invite you to stop by. We're located in Court Plaza. Stop by and let us help you be healthy.
I'm Amanda Gaskin with Briar Patch Realty. Helping qualified heroes save money is my passion. When I help a hero buy or sell a home, they receive a check from Homes for Heroes. Check out amandasheroes.com for more information.
For more than 70 years, the sweet aroma of the Crestview's Coney Islands burgers and hot dogs.
I'm ordering you to meet physically with Mr. Catalani before Thursday at 9 o'clock, okay? You need to call his office, you make an appointment to see him. The burden's on you. It's kind of like paying taxes. The burden's on you to make sure that you get this done. If you come in Thursday and you haven't met with him, I'm going to probably revoke your bond, okay? That's not worth it for you to go out the side door just for not meeting with Mr. Catalani. So I'll see you Thursday at 9 o'clock.
I understand.
Okay? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor. The first I have is Joseph Middleton.
Thanks, Ms. Chapman.
And Your Honor, I did discuss this plea agreement with Mr. Middleton. At the time, however, I didn't have the written plea agreement. He has had an opportunity to review it, but if I may pause for a moment to have him sign.
Yes, ma'am.
Hold on. Judge, can I just have 1 second?
Certainly. Mr. Medina, after Ms. Jacobs' cases, then we'll take your case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor, I appreciate it. Mr. Middleton is present 23 CF 1290 and 23 CF 1446. We have reached an agreement with the state. He's essentially going to plead no contest to both charges, or both cases. There's one charge in each case. He'll be adjudicated guilty and sentenced to 11 months and 29 days county jail with credit for all time served. He will have to pay the $515 in court costs in each case, and a total of $250 cost of defense. Everything is going to run, the sentence will run concurrently with one another, and he will get credit for all time served in both cases.
Okay, good.
And that is a guideline sentence. I believe the state will need to submit a score sheet at a later time, though.
Thank you, ma'am.
May I approach?
Yes. Mr. Middleton, if you'll raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. You can put your hand down. Mr. Middleton, did you read the plea agreement?
Yes, sir, I did.
Do you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Did you discuss it with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Did she answer all of your questions?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with the representation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you sign the plea agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Middleton, I do accept your plea. You're adjudicated guilty. You're sentenced to 11 months, 29 days in the Okaloosa County Jail. That's to run concurrently, run at the same time between each case and count. It's also with credit for all time served. You'll need to pay the court costs in both of the cases, total of $250 public defender's fee. Madam Clerk, will that amount be about $2,000? Close to that for both
Your Honor,
cases?
I think the court is probably trying to figure out how long to give him to pay it. He does have a holdout in Mississippi, and we're not sure what would happen then, so I did explain to him that it would likely go to a civil lien after 90 days, but that he could definitely contact me once he's done in Mississippi, and I would file a motion at the court, recall that from collections.
Okay. So, Mr. Middleton, if you fail to pay it within 90 days from your release from the Okaloosa County Jail, it will go to a civil lien or judgment.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. Your Honor, the next I have is Ron Peterson in 21 CF 1964 and 1965. The state had asked me to present a counteroffer, which I did, but Mr. Gomez did not have an opportunity to look into that yet. Because of that, and because Mr. Peterson doesn't have a driver's license and lives in Walton County, the state stipulated to waiving his appearance for today, since we were going to need to continue the case. Our hope would be to get a resolution and put him on an earlier docket, but for now, if we could move it to the 13th of November.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. It's continued.
Thank you. And finally, Your Honor, I have Jessica Stepp in 23 CF 876.
Hello, Ms. Stepp.
Your Honor, I left Ms. Stepp on for today so that we could discuss her case and the offer, and unfortunately I've not been able to reach her, so I'll need to continue this matter to the November 13th docket.
Okay. Have you communicated with Ms. Stepp in the last couple of weeks?
Well, Your Honor, I was appointed in August, so I've only had the case for maybe 6 weeks or so at the most.
Okay.
So I've not had an opportunity to speak with her previously.
Okay.
We just haven't been able to get up with each other in the last week.
Okay. Ms. Stepp, make sure that you stay in touch with Ms. Jacobs. She can't help you if you don't stay in touch with her, okay? I'll see you back here no later than November 13th. If the state offers you something that you want to accept and you want to avoid about 300 people on November 13th, Ms. Jacobs can set that hearing before, okay? Thank you, ma'am.
And Your Honor, that's all I have, if I may be excused.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Medina.
Good morning, Your Honor. Steve Medina with Broderick Eugene Bryant, approaching in 22 CF 2925. We're here on defendant's motion for order to produce decedent's medical and related records. I've discussed this with ASA Sharpless, and I don't believe there's any objection from the state or the next of kin who are not present. I don't believe that the doctors Richard P. Chern or Nitwan Bawa are present or represented by counsel at today's hearing. They've been given notice. I have an order that the state has reviewed. I don't think there's any objection granting the motion. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
For the state, is that accurate?
Yes, Judge. Mr. Medina allowed me the opportunity to review the order, and I spoke with Ms. Sharpless. My understanding is that she has no objections to this proposed order, and as Mr. Medina pointed out, Ms. Sharpless has been in contact with the victim's family, and my understanding is there is no objection to this order.
Okay.
Would it be better for us to e-file it, Your Honor?
No, sir, I can file it right now.
Thank you, Your Honor. And we will, I will have my investigator hand serve it and follow up with the providers to figure out the most convenient way to get the records.
Okay, good.
And Your Honor, I think that Mr. Bryant should be continued to the November 13 pretrial docket. We may or may not have a motion before then that we may or may not be able to notice for hearing.
Okay. Mr. Bryan, I'll see you no later than November 13th.
All right,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Medina. Yes, sir. Mr. Noakes.
Judge, I've got William Morgan, 21 CF 3014, present. We've got the PTI.
Good.
If I may approach.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good, Mr. Morgan. I'm glad that worked out. Okay, so you need to get the probation to sign this, and then it goes back to the clerk. Good. So, Mr. Morgan, I'm just going to continue it until November 13th, but with the paperwork, it just needs to be finalized. Then you don't have to appear back in front of me, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Good luck to you.
I appreciate it.
Judge, I'm still trying to find Mr. Lee, so bear with me.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Gates?
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, sir.
I have James Mabry, M-A-B-R-Y. There's a waiver on file.
And I did get the note that you were going to be late.
Thank you, Judge. Your Honor, we've reached an agreement for PTI, so if we could just put it on that November 13th date, it should fall off by then.
It's just in full candor, Your Honor. I think we set on this date with the intention of the state getting the PTI to them before this date, but I, in full candor, did not do that, and I apologize, but it will be off the docket by the 11/13 date, Your Honor.
Okay. Good, yes, sir.
And then Ms. Davis and I have a Julio Ramos, an inmate. I thought those were at 1:30, but I see some
They're here.
inmates.
Yes, sir.
And we were just gonna set that for Thursday.
Hold on, he's coming out. Mr. Ramos Perez, hello.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good. Mr. Gates?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so he has a second case. That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
Your Honor, if we could set this for Thursday for the review date, we should have a resolution on that date.
Okay. It's my understanding that Mr. Ramos Perez has another case that he's pro se on.
It'll be a global agreement if we're able to reach that between now and then.
My hope is if we can reach that, I'll file a notice of appearance on that new case and we can handle both cases at the same time.
Good, Mr. Ramos Perez. I'll see you on Thursday.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
That's
Mr.
all I
Gates.
have, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, then I have some folks that are not represented by attorneys. First one is Alan Matusa? No. Matthews?
I think you're right.
Matthias, thank you.
Those were the judges.
Carrillo? Okay, Matthias Carrillo, Alan Reiner. Okay, so we don't have. Okay, okay, so we'll wait until the interpreter.
Yes.
Hopefully she's coming. Next, we have William Vordenbaum. Mr. Vordenbaum. 23 CF 680. On Mr. Vordenbaum's case, what is the state?
Judge, we're prepared for trial. Subpoenas were sent out last week. Our anticipation is going earlier next week because my main officer is going to be out after that. So we'll probably go Monday, Tuesday of next week.
Can I renew my motion to dismiss and to suppress?
If you want to file any motions, you need to do it. Okay. We'll hear those on Thursday. Okay.
Can I approach?
You can approach with the state.
Yes.
If you wish to.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Has permeated the downtown area. If you have not experienced the unique flavor of Crestview's Coney Island's burgers and hot dogs, then I encourage you to join us for lunch. Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m., Friday from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m., and Saturday from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. We're located in historic downtown Crestview at 107 North Main Street. Call 850-683-1045.
CQ Roofing, your hometown roofer since 1999. We're state licensed and insured, family owned and operated with 24 years of local service. We specialize in shingles and metal, re-roofs, repairs, and leak specialists. For all of your roofing needs, call us today or visit our website at cqroofing.com. CQ Roofing, your hometown roofer.
Days Tire Pros makes buying tires simpler. They offer a straightforward approach to tire and auto service that includes nationwide warranties, a hassle-free experience, and a great selection of Michelin tires. No matter what you drive or where you have driven, Michelin has a tire to fit any need. Visit our store in Crestview or online at daystirepros.com. Tire Pros love the drive.
Hey, I'm David at Family Vision of Crestview. We've been providing excellent optical service for Northwest Florida for over 34 years. Come in and let us take care of you.
Bad Boy's Juicy Beef and Tasty Bird is located at 482 North Wilston Street in historic downtown Crestview, just 1 block from the courthouse. We open at 10 a.m. with amazing lunch specials until 2 p.m., serving incredible burgers, wings, sandwiches, and appetizers. Join us for happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Hope to see you soon.
Thursday. So I'll see you Thursday at 9 o'clock. Yes, sir. Teresa.
Hi, good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, ma'am. Perfect.
You swear or affirm that you will give an accurate, complete, and impartial representation from the Spanish language into the English language and vice versa relative to the cause under consideration before the court?
I do.
Mr. Matthias.
Your Honor, this is an unrepresented defendant, Matius Carrillo Alan. Last Monday, he was here unrepresented. He had an offer from the state. Your Honor did not feel comfortable in accepting his plea without him knowing what was the offer.
What is the offer?
The offer is a withhold of adjudication to the charges as they are charged with 2 years of standard probation, $615 in court costs, a substance abuse evaluation within 30 days, and to begin any recommended treatment within 60 days with random urinalysis, a community service work in the amount of 24 hours. That would be it.
And it's $40 per God bless you. $40 per month cost of supervision, correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so have you ever been on probation before?
No, but I understand what probation is already, Your Honor.
Okay. You have the right to an attorney. I can appoint one if you qualify financially. You have the right to a jury trial. You also have the right to waive both of those things and accept the state's offer. What do you wish to do?
I'm going to plead guilty.
Okay, so you want to accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you'll raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You can put your hand up. Do you understand that if I accept your plea that you're waiving your right to both an attorney and to a trial by jury?
Yes.
Do you have any questions for the court or the state about probation or submitting to a substance abuse evaluation and having to follow any recommendations of that?
No, Your Honor, I don't.
Are you sure you feel comfortable with this?
Your Honor, if we
Yes.
may, if the state would request, can we also get a very clear understanding on the record that he understands the requirement for community service work as well, just the same way that we did the substance abuse evaluation?
Okay. You'll have to perform 24 hours of community service work. Your probation officer will tell you where you can do that 24 hours to help out. Do you understand that's also a requirement?
Yes, that would be fine.
I do accept your plea. Adjudication is withheld. You're sentenced to 2 years probation. You'll need to pay the court cost, the $40 per month cost of supervision. You'll need to submit to a substance abuse evaluation within 30 days from today, beginning in treatment if it's recommended within 60 days from today. Submit to random urinalysis and perform 24 hours of community service work. How much money do you average making per month?
Well, Your Honor, because of this issue and this problem that I am facing, I am not earning nearly as much.
What have you average making per month over the last 5 months?
Like $300.
A month?
No, monthly will be like $1,500.
Okay. I do waive the cost of supervision while you're on probation, okay? So you don't have to pay the $40 per month. Thank you, sir. Good luck to you. Probation sitting back in the row. Thank you. Teresa, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. I will have one more, sir.
Okay, you just let me know.
Your Honor, may I just do the Spanish plea
Sir.
briefly? This is last name Rodriguez Graciano, who's present approaching. First name Crescencio.
Good morning, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Koch.
Yes, Your Honor. Thomas Koch for the record. This is case number 2023 CF2A1. This will be a change of plea, Your Honor. No contest. Count 1 is going to be amended to the lesser of leaving the scene of an accident without injuries.
Judge, it won't be amended, it's just gonna be a lesser included.
Yes, ma'am.
And it'll be,
The difference, Mr. Koch, I had to learn was that if it's an amended information, the state's got to, if it's an amended charge, the state has to file an amended information. If it's lesser included, they don't have to do that.
apologize, Judge, be a lesser. And that's Florida statute 316.061. And then count 2 would be as charged, driving without a valid license. In terms of the plea, Your Honor, count 1, it'd be 6 months probation, $615 in court costs, $150 in defense costs, 24 hours community service. My client must complete the basic driver improvement class. No contact with Dawn Quaker, and the court will reserve jurisdiction for restitution for 90 days.
And then there's $40 per month cost of supervision, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay.
And then count 2, Your Honor, it'll be 6 months probation to run consecutive to count 1. If I may approach with the plea form, Your Honor?
Yes, sir. Okay, good, yes. If you'll please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. You can put your hand down. Was the plea agreement read to you in Spanish?
Yes.
Do you understand it?
Yes.
Do you understand that you'll be on probation for a total of 1 year?
Yes.
Any questions for the court or your attorney or the state?
No.
Okay. I do accept your plea. Adjudication is withheld. You're sentenced to 6 months probation in each count to run consecutively for a total of 12 months. You'll need to pay the court costs, which Madam Clerk said $308, $303, $303. You'll need to pay the $150 public defender's fee, perform 24 hours of community service work, pay the $40 per month cost of supervision. You will need to enter and successfully complete the driver's improvement class, have no contact with the victim. The court does award restitution, but reserves jurisdiction to determine the amount of that restitution if the state files a petition or a motion within 90 days from today. Thank you, sir. Good luck to you.
That is all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Koch, you want to do your other folks or the folks in the gallery?
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
In the gallery, I got Kimora Ramirez.
And when I say gallery, also remember the folks that are on Zoom. Okay.
Yes, Judge. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Judge, can we keep this set for the Thursday?
So is it going to be trial?
Yes, Judge. And my client is, I also instructed her to come to my office tomorrow just for another office conference.
Okay. Is there any outstanding offer to Ms. Ramirez that the state intends to withdraw?
Judge, it appears I got served this morning a reciprocal witness list on this case. Most of them are the state's witnesses, but there's also an additional witness that most likely I would have to ask for a continuance come Thursday because I need to figure out who this woman is and why she has relevant evidence to the case.
Okay. So should I give Mr. Koch the ability to waive Ms. Ramirez's attendance on Thursday if he finds out from you that you're going to seek a continuance?
Judge, I think at this point she needs to remain.
Okay. Ms. Ramirez, I'll see you at 9 o'clock on Thursday. Okay? Thank you, ma'am. We may be going to trial next week, so be here. Okay? Thank you.
Judge, I also have Brian Pippin, President, approaching.
Yes, sir.
For a change of plea.
Hello, Mr. Pippin.
Judge, to the left of me is Mr. Pippin, 2023 CF 3. This will be a change of plea, no contest, Your Honor. Be as charged, be a withhold of adjudication, 4 years probation, be $967 for court costs, $150 defense costs, Your Honor. Court will reserve jurisdiction for restitution for 90 days. Be 48 hours community service. A client must complete the anger management class. There is a cost investigation of $83.72 and no contact with Kimberly Bender, Your Honor. May I approach with the plea form?
Yes, sir. Mr. Pippin, if you'll raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you, sir. If you'll please, well, Mr. Pippin, did you read the plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand it?
Yes.
Did you discuss it with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Did he answer all of your questions?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Did you sign the plea agreement?
Yes.
Mr. Pippin, do you also understand that you'll need to pay the $40 per month cost of supervision?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Pippin, I do accept your plea. Adjudication is withheld. You're sentenced to 4 years probation, and that's to run concurrently, run at the same time in each count. You'll need to pay the court cost, $40 per month, cost of supervision, $150 public defender's fee. Court does award restitution, but reserves jurisdiction to determine the amount of that restitution if the state files a petition or a motion within 90 days from today. You'll need to perform 48 hours of community service work, enter and successfully complete the anger management class, pay the $83.72 in investigative cost. Thank you, sir. Good luck to you. Okay, count 2 times, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Okay, yes, sir.
Judge, I have Timothy Safir on the Zoom, who's unmuting right now.
Yes, sir. Safford.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Good. Yes, sir. Mr. Wright.
Yes, Judge, on the 9/11 pretrial, as instructed, my client, who's in Texas, did reach out. We had a telephone conference. I'm requesting if we could put this to that November 13th pretrial date. We have another conference scheduled just to review some discovery, and I expect this case to be resolved by next pretrial, Your Honor.
Okay, so to the state, continue trial next time?
Yes,
Okay. Mr. Sefford, I'll see you back here on November 13th at 9 o'clock. If it's not resolved then we'll be heading toward a trial, okay?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Koch?
Yes, Your Honor. I got Elisa Rios Penaloza.
She was here, Judge. She advised that she has Mr. Arrowwood now. Jeff Arrowwood.
Mr. Arrowwood did notice of appearance, Judge.
Okay, thank you.
She was here, though. She made contact with security.
And so Mr. Arrowwood did do a notice of appearance. So the state does an oral motion to withdraw, I take it?
The defense, yes, Judge.
I'm sorry, not the state. Thank you.
It's okay.
The defense does. Yes, sir, that motion is granted. And so public defender is released and Mr. Arrowwood represents Mr. Rios, Ms. Rios. Okay?
She believed there was a waiver for her appearances. There's a waiver.
Okay. Hopefully we'll find Mr. Arrowwood. Okay?
And Judge, I had a Stephen Shorts. I don't know if you addressed that while I was outside the court.
Mr. Shell.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Judge. And I do have Ms. Tony Ross, who's present in the courtroom. This is 22 CF 1386.
Hello, Ms. Ross.
Yes, Your Honor. Last pretrial, my client had an active warrant, so a new law violation. I'm seeking a continuance to the November 13th, date. It's a chance to look over this case plus the new law violation, Judge.
Okay. To the state?
Judge, we would ask for trial next time.
Meaning this time?
No.
The next time?
The next time. I
Okay.
think we were just set for plea or continued, so.
Gotcha. Any objection to that, Mr. Koch?
No objection, Judge.
Okay. So, Ms. Ross, I'll see you November 13th at 9 o'clock, and we'll be looking at going to trial at the end of that month. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Judge, the rest of my case is in custody, and could I just get passed up for a brief moment to speak?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. PD, folks that are in the gallery or on Zoom.
Your Honor, first I have Haley LaGrosse, followed by Jessica Manios.
Hello, Ms. LaGrosse.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? Good.
Your Honor, this is Ms. LaGrosse. She has reached an agreement to resolve this case She's going to be entering a no contest plea to the lesser included offense of misdemeanor assault. She'll be placed on 1 year of probation to be supervised by JCS. She will have no contact with the victim, Evelyn Holbert. She will be assessed misdemeanor court costs, $150 in public defender fees, and there would be a withhold of adjudication.
Okay.
May I approach?
Yes, sir. Ms. LaCruz, if you'll raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. LaCruz, did you read the plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Did you discuss it with your attorney?
Yes, sir. I did.
Did he answer all of your questions?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Did you sign the plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
Ms. LaGrosse, I do accept your plea. Adjudication is withheld. You're sentenced to 1 year probation with JCS. You'll have no contact with the victim. You'll need to pay the court costs, $150 public defender's fee. Okay? Thank you, ma'am. Good luck to you.
Next will be Jessica Manios. Does Your Honor want me to hold off on the inmates?
I would. Yes.
Okay. Yes, sir. And then after Ms. Manios will be Derek McClain.
Thank you.
Ms. Manios is present, Your Honor. She has signed a PTI agreement, and that has already been provided to probation. Ms. Veras is actually in court today, so if we could just, I guess, leave her on for October 12th for a control day to make sure the PTI is gone through.
Or November 13th, just to make sure.
Either one, I'll leave it up to the court.
So, Ms. Manios, if the paperwork goes through on PTI, which I have no reason to believe it won't, then I won't see you again. But if something happens and it falls apart, then I'll see you back here on November 13th at 9. Okay? Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, sir. Good.
Yeah, this is Mr. McClain. Speaking with Mr. McClain today, Mr. McClain is going to be requesting that the court grant Mr. McClain a continuance. He does have a meeting scheduled for later today in an attempt to seek private counsel. I don't know if the court wants to inquire as to what. I don't know how the court wants to handle it.
Okay.
I did talk to.
Yes, sir.
I did talk to Mr. Gomez, and I don't believe the state would have an objection to a continuance. I just don't want to put the court in a position where a new attorney shows up on Thursday.
Right.
Given the nature of these charges, Your Honor, they are very serious. This is not a situation where we want to force something and then it ends up coming back, but we would request very specifically that he be instructed to find that counsel as soon as possible with the idea that we will try the case the next cycle.
Okay. Mr. McClain, how long will it take you to be able to afford to hire a private counsel? When do you think that you'll have a new attorney?
Well, I'm going today to speak with the attorney.
Okay.
I spoke with him over the weekend.
And so you think, I'm smiling because there's a civil attorney that says the sacred bond hasn't been made, and that means the payment of a retainer.
And we haven't discussed that yet.
Okay, so you don't know what that is. I don't want to end up back here on November 13th. One thing, Mr. Kleins needs to know what his marching orders are. He doesn't need to be in limbo between now and then. The court also, I need to know what my marching orders are. Are we heading toward trial? Are we not? If you have a private counsel that files a notice of appearance before 9 o'clock Thursday, then you don't have to be here on Thursday at 9 o'clock. If you don't have a private attorney that files that notice of appearance, then I'll see you back here on Thursday at 9. Mr. Kleins will still be representing you. I just need to make sure that I move the cases forward. I can't tell Mr. Kleins, you need to be ready for trial and do all those things with the possibility of a private attorney. So we need to just nail that down. Okay. So 9 o'clock on Thursday, either you be here or have your attorney file a notice of appearance. Before that, make sure that when you see him or her, tell them to email my judicial assistant that notice of appearance, because sometimes when things are filed with the clerk, it takes a few days for that to bubble up. Okay? Good.
And if there's a notice of appearance filed, Your Honor, would the court authorize that attorney to file a waiver of appearance so Mr. McLean doesn't have to be here on Thursday?
Then if the attorney files a notice of appearance, then it will be continued until November 13th.
I just want to make sure so that we're all on the same page. If there is no new attorney, then we are showing up on Thursday with the idea of resolving this case at trial over the next 2 weeks.
Did I say trial last time?
This was set for trial this cycle, Your Honor.
Okay. So, yes, sir. So, Mr. McLean, if you don't have a private attorney, I'll see you Thursday at 9, and we'll be marching toward trial in the next couple weeks.
And just so the court's aware, Your Honor, this morning I listed as a defense witness Janice Bruton. Ms. Bruton is a notary public. She notarized an affidavit that was filed in reciprocal discovery last August of 2022. If this case goes forward to trial this cycle, the defense would be subpoenaing Ms. Bruton in an attempt to have her authenticate that affidavit. So if this does go to trial, I would probably be asking the court to consider me too, because I need to talk to Ms. Bruton.
I understand. Okay. Ms. McLean, any questions about what you need to do? One is, if you're going to hire a private attorney, get them to file a notice of appearance before Thursday. Email my judicial assistant with a copy of that, and actually ask them to email me directly, my email address. And then you don't have to be here on Thursday. The case is continued until November 13th. If you don't have a private attorney file a notice of appearance, I'll see you back here Thursday at 9, and we'll be going to trial probably 2 weeks after that. Okay? Thank you, sir.
Next, I have Elizabeth McIntosh, followed by Mr. Merkle on Zoom.
And then after Mr. Merkle, we'll take a break.
Your Honor, in terms of Mrs. McIntosh,
Yes.
22 CF 2217.
For 2 hours.
I understand, Mr. Taylor. Thank you.
22 CF 2217. In this case, Your Honor, we have reached out to the victim multiple times. We have not had any sort of contact from him during the deposition. He did allude to the fact that there was a good working relationship with the defendant and that he didn't really want to see too much happen. Given that and the lack of cooperation that we've had over the last 45 to 60 days, the state would be announcing dismissal of this case.
Ms. McIntosh, certainly no downside to you for that. Your case is dismissed. Thank you, ma'am.
Your Honor, next I have Jeremy Merkle on Zoom.
Merkle. Good. Thanks, Mr. Merkle.
Hey, Jeremy, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay. Your Honor, Mr. Merkle is going to be entering a plea to the bench today on counts 1, 2, and 3. He will be entering a no contest plea on those counts. In exchange for the pleas on those counts, count 4 will be null prost. We are going to ask the court for a sentencing hearing, probably the first available date in November, primarily because we're going to be ordering a PSI and want to make sure we have time to do that. Plus, Mr. Merkle lives in Mobile, so I don't know if probation is going to require him to physically come over here for the PSI or if they could do that over the phone. But I think the first available date in November. So this would be.
Let me stop.
Yes, sir.
Has Mr. Merkle signed a plea agreement?
He has, Your Honor.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yes, I have a.
I was going to say, I'm not going to do this without.
No. And so I emailed it to him, and he faxed it back to me on Friday.
Okay.
So
please, if you will.
let me sign it. I haven't even signed it myself.
Mr. Merkle, if you'll raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You can put your hand down. Mr. Merkle, are you currently under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No, Your Honor.
Have you ever been treated for any mental illness or emotional disturbance, or are you suffering from any of those at this time?
No, Your Honor.
How far did you go in school?
High school.
Did you read the plea agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you discuss it with your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did he answer all of your questions?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes.
Did you sign the plea agreement?
Yes.
Mr. Merkle, do you understand that you could be sentenced up? Well, count 4 is going to be null prost, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you could be sentenced up to a total of 15 years in prison. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you have any questions for the court or your attorney or the state about the plea agreement or a possible sentence?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Merkel, I do accept your plea. I find that you're alert and intelligent, that your plea is freely and voluntarily entered, that you understand the nature of the charges against you, and are represented by competent counsel with whom you state you are satisfied. I find that there is a factual basis for acceptance of the plea. So when is going to be the sentencing? Well, I'm ordering a pre-sentence investigation, so we'll need it at least a month out, right?
Yes, Your Honor. That's primarily the reason why I was asking for the first available date in November.
Okay, so November 16th at 2:30. So Mr. Merkel, I'll see you November 16th at 2:30, okay?
Yes, Your Honor. Will that be on Zoom or in person?
Oh,
No,
no.
sir, you'll need to be here personally.
Yes, you're gonna have to be here. Jeremy, we'll talk on the phone, but you're gonna have to physically be here for that sentencing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
And
sir.
Your Honor, for the record, he does presumptively score 89.4 points and guidelines are 46.5 months.
And Mr. Merkwa and I have had numerous discussions about the score. I have explained to him the details of how downward departures are rewarded, obviously with a plea to the bench or the presumptive sentence. That's what we'll be seeking. But he is aware that he's gonna be looking at a presumptive 46 months in the department.
Okay, Mr. Merkel, if you don't want to enter the plea, then verbally I'll rip up everything we just talked about the plea agreement, and physically if you want to, the plea agreement, but with that understanding of the score sheet, have you had sufficient time to talk to Mr. Kleins about what the court has to find to sentence you to less than 46.5 months in prison?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so you don't understand what the court has to do to go for a downward departure?
No, Your Honor.
Jeremy, we talked about this on Friday. You don't recall this conversation?
Now that I remember, yes, Your Honor. Yes, I do.
Okay.
We did talk about it.
Okay. Are you sure? What, because I mean, that's a hurdle that you have to overcome coming out of the box is, you know, there's a presumption of, or at least the default, the starting point with the court could very well be the 46.5 months in prison. Could be, I mean, you know, usually I don't have any starting point, but that's something that I've got to look at, and the burden is on the defense to have to get the court to go below that amount. So I just want to make sure that you understand that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Are you sure you feel comfortable with what you talked to Mr. Kleins about on Friday?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any questions for me or Mr. Kleins or the state?
No.
So I do accept your plea, Mr. Merkel. I'll see you on November 16th at 2:30, okay?
Thank you.
Your Honor, before the court takes a break, I just have one more in the galleries. I expect a continuance. Could I call him?
Okay, yes.
Mr. Oya? And this is Trustin Oya, Your Honor. We have proposed a resolution here to Mr. Oya's case. I know Mr. Gomez has indicated he needs to talk to the alleged victim in the matter.
Good morning, sir.
I think the smarter thing to do would be to seek a joint continuance here so Mr. Gomez can comply with Marcy's law in speaking with that victim.
Mr. Gomez?
That's correct, Your Honor. I anticipate this will eventually get off the docket, or we'll set it earlier so that it does. I just need to make sure with the victim that everything is good to go and comply with Marcy's law.
Okay. So, Mr. Oya, I'll see you back here no later than November 13th at 9 o'clock. But if you work out a deal with the state, or if the state says it's not going to go forward, then Mr. Kleins can set it for a hearing before that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Since we've been working more than an hour and a half, we'll take a 10-minute recess and then we'll come back and finish up the morning. Thank you.
All right, please.
Check out the soaps, bath bombs, and other bath and body products, all made by hand with natural ingredients at Hub City Soapery. Visit us at 1092 North Verdon Boulevard in Crestview or shop online at hubcitysoapery.com. Hub City Soapery.
This is Tiffany Woodham, State Farm's newest agent in Crestview. I'd like to personally invite you to stop by my office for a no-cost policy review. Let me help you start saving today. Call in, walk in, or click in at yourcrestview.agent.com.
Alex Barthay from the UPS store once again, and I wanted to let you know about our Sunday hours. We're open now 7 days a week. Normal hours that you've been expecting, but now we're open Saturday 10 to 4, Sunday 10 to 3, and that's both our Crestview, Fort Walton Beach, and Eglin Air Force Base locations. So you have things to do, go and do it. Just know the UPS store is going to be here. Again, Sundays 10 until 3 p.m.
The Cottage Formalware, located at 648 North Wilson Street, has all your needs for looking your best. We have homecoming, prom, and pageant dresses. We have tux rental suits, vests, ties. Need something casual? We have that too. Shop Hometown First and visit us on Facebook at the Cottage Boutique and Formalware. We're located at 648 North Wilson Street. Call 850-682-2446.
Hi, I'm Wanda Roberts. For the last 20 years, I've been helping the residents of Northwest Florida buy and sell their properties. My office is just 1 block south of the courthouse in historic downtown Crestview. Give us a call at 850-398-5389.
Hi, I'm Michael Gilbert, defense attorney with Warrior Law. I represent those accused in Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, and Walton County. If you or anyone you know has been accused of a crime, give us a call. We can help.
Hello, this is Chris Norman at Bulldog Bail Bonds. Our office is in Crestview, Florida, but we service 7 Northwest Florida counties. If you ever find yourself in a jam, please give us a call. We're here to help you out.
Congratulations, Crestview's very own Dixie Dan Powell of Powell Injury Law, for your recent jury verdict of $11.5 million for your client from a death and injury against an inflatable amusement company. Recognized in 2017 as one of the top 100 civil trial lawyers in the state of Florida, and Dixie is AV preeminent rated. Dixie Dan Powell works tirelessly for his clients, as is evident by this extraordinary verdict. If you're taking your case to trial, be prepared. Contact Dixie Dan Powell and Powell Injury Law, 850-306-2667.
Back Home Bakery Cafe is 2 blocks from the courthouse on Crestview historic Main Street. We serve handmade pastries, espresso, and lunch items, and we're open Tuesday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., serving lunch from 11 to 2. We hope to see you soon.
Hello, I am Bonnie from Body Be Healthy here in Crestview. We have been serving the area since 1999. We're an alternative health food store. If you're interested in bettering your health, we'd like to invite you to stop by. We're located in Court Plaza. Stop by and let us help you be healthy.
I'm Amanda Gaskin with Briar Patch Realty. Helping qualified heroes save money is my passion. When I help a hero buy or sell a home, they receive a check from Homes for Heroes. Check out amandasheroes.com for more information.
For more than 70 years, the sweet aroma of the Crestview Coney Islands burgers and hot dogs has permeated the downtown area. If you have not experienced the unique flavor of Crestview's Coney Islands burgers and hot dogs, then I encourage you to join us for lunch. Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m., Friday from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m., and Saturday from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. We're located in historic downtown Crestview at 107 North Main Street. Call 850-683-1045.
CQ Roofing, your hometown roofer since 1999. We're state licensed and insured, family owned and operated with 24 years of local service. We specialize in shingles and metal, re-roofs, repairs, and leak specialists. For all of your roofing needs, call us today or visit our website at cqroofing.com. CQ Roofing, your hometown roofer.
Dave's Tire Pros makes buying tires simpler. They offer a straightforward approach to tire and auto service that includes nationwide warranties, a hassle-free experience, and a great selection of Michelin tires. No matter what you drive or where you have driven, Michelin has a tire to fit any need. Visit our store in Crestview or online at davestilepros.com. Tire Pros love the drive.
Hey, I'm David at Family Vision of Crestview. We've been providing excellent optical service for Northwest Florida for over 34 years. Come in and let us take care of you.
Fat Boy's Juicy Beef and Tasty Bird is located at 482 North Wilston Street in historic downtown Crestview, just 1 block from the courthouse. We open at 10 a.m. with amazing lunch specials until 2 p.m., serving incredible burgers, wings, sandwiches, and appetizers. Join us for happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Hope to see you soon.
$13.80. The state sent me, looks like about 125 pages of discovery, and so we forwarded that to Mr. Lee, so he's gotten it. There was no offer that I saw in the file, so I don't know exactly what their offer is, but might just be best to continue it.
Does the state have an offer for Mr. Lee?
I'm borrowing your own. Let me pull this case up. Sorry, Aaron, the internet's going through. Your Honor, at this time, the current offer was a withhold of adjudication, 2 years of probation. We want the court to reserve for 180 days to reserve jurisdiction, or to determine the amount, I'm sorry. $615 in court costs, 48 hours of community service work.
So, Mr. Lee, you've heard what the state said?
Kind of required to hear, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Lee, the state's offering a withhold of adjudication, 2 years probation. You need to pay the court cost, $150 public assistance fee, $40 per month cost of supervision, perform 48 hours of community service work, and the court would reserve jurisdiction for 180 days to determine the amount of any restitution. So that's the state's offer.
And Mr. Lee, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So in the paperwork, it said that the restitution was $8,592, I think is about.
$8,529, but yes, sir.
Is that right?
$8,529.80.
Pretty close. So that, why don't we just put it on for pretrial and let's discuss that, because that's part of your conditions of your probation is that the court, if the court were to find that they're right, it's $8,529, you'd have to pay that over probation. So I'd like to talk to you about that.
All right.
Okay, so let's continue it until November 13th.
Mr. Lee, I'll see you back here November 13th at 9 o'clock. If you want to enter a plea before that time and avoid about 300 people, Mr. Noakes can set a plea hearing, and then we can talk about it, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
Okay, who's next? Yes, sir. Mr.
Judge, may I call?
Kenny?
Mr. Frazier's not in the courtroom. Mr. Rumpf?
Okay, Mr. Rumpf.
Mr. Vincent Rumpf is before the court in 23 CF 352. Judge, this is on the trial docket. I want to leave it on the trial docket for Thursday.
Okay. So is there any offer that's outstanding to Mr. Rumpf that the state intends to withdraw?
Yes, Judge. We've sent a subpoena for the victim for a jury review, and so we're waiting to see if she's going to comply with that.
Okay. So, Mr. Rumpf, I'll see you at 9 o'clock Thursday, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Judge, I have David Taylor on Zoom.
Good. Mr. Taylor.
Mr. Taylor is present on Zoom in 22 CF 2917. The reason that's an older case number is because he was in the Escambia County Jail for 10 months. And we've been able to work at that time. We have an agreement that's been reached for Mr. Taylor for a 10-month sentence that includes that credit. I'm announcing it, and I've discussed that with Mr. Taylor, but he would need to be here in the courtroom for us to enter that plea and do fingerprints. So I'd like to set this over to Thursday morning, not for trial, but for Mr. Taylor to enter the plea to 10 months in the Okaloosa County Jail, but with credit for the 10 months stipulated into that credit from Escambia.
Okay. Mr. Taylor, I'll see you Thursday at 9 o'clock.
Yes, sir. See you then.
Physically here. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Ms. Turnage is on Zoom. Ms. Turnage, can you start your video and unmute?
Is she under surety?
I believe so.
I'll ask her to start her video and ask her to unmute. Ms. Turnage, can you hear me? Yes, ma'am. Good. See you unmuted. Can you start your video? Ms. Turnage, if you can hear us, if you'll say something. Okay, Mr. McKinney, who do you want to do next until Ms. Turnage can?
Joel Walls is present in the courtroom.
And Ms. Turnage, you may want to log off and log back on if you're having problems. It says that you're not muted, but we can't see you and can't hear you. Okay, yes, sir, Mr. McKinney.
Judge, Mr. Walls is before the court in 21 CF 1796. Judge, this was announced on the trial docket. We'd like to come back on Thursday ready for trial.
Okay, to the state.
Yes, Judge, we're ready. We're looking at going the end of the second week due to travel for our officer on the case.
Okay. Any offer to Mr. Walls that's still outstanding? Okay. So, Mr. Walls, I'll see you back here on Thursday at 9 o'clock.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
you. Peter Webb. Mr. Webb is present and approaching in 23 CF 1023.
Well, Mr. Webb.
Mr. Webb is going to be entering a plea of no contest. As charged, he will be adjudicated guilty, sentenced to 90 days in the Okaloosa County Jail with credit for time served, $615 in court costs, $150 cost of defense. May I approach the plea agreement signed by myself and signed in the state?
Yes, sir. Mr. Webb, if you'll raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, sir. You can put your hand out. Mr. Webb, are you currently under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
Yes, sir.
Did you read the plea agreement?
Yes, I did.
Do you understand it?
Yes, I do.
Did you discuss it with your attorney?
I did.
Did he answer all of your questions?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Did you sign the plea agreement?
I did.
Mr. Webb, I do accept your plea. You're adjudicated guilty. You're sentenced to 90 days in Okaloosa County Jail with credit for all time served, and that's to run concurrently, run at the same time on both of your counts. You'll need to pay the court costs, the $150 public defender's fee. How long will it take you to pay? About $800.
I'd ask for 6 months, please.
Okay. Is that enough time, or do you need a year?
I think 6 months would be enough.
Okay. So if you don't pay it within 6 months after you're released from the jail, then it will go to a civil lien or judgment. Okay? Thank you, sir. Good luck to you.
Stephen Zamora is on Zoom.
Just one question. We need to verify his date of birth. If you have the date off. What is his date?
For Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Webb, what?
19.
When's your birthday?
Today.
Happy birthday.
Oh, man, Mr. Webb, happy birthday. Yes, sir.
Mr. Zamora is present on Zoom in 23 CF 1203. Mr. Zamora, can you hear us in the courtroom?
Mr. Mozo?
Can you
Your
unmute?
microphone's muted. I'll ask you to unmute it. There you go. Good.
There you go. Good. Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Judge, Mr. Zamora lives in Miami. Well, that's some good feedback.
Mr. Zamora, we're hearing your speaker. I'm going to mute yours until we ask you to tell us some stuff, okay? Okay, you've got it muted. It's good.
And Judge, we have been negotiating with the state, and I believe that this is tracking towards a misdemeanor reduction that we might be able to handle with a plea in absentia. We are working on those terms, so I'm going to request a continuance. It's not on the trial docket. Mr. Zamora, that would reschedule your court date for November 13th at 9 a.m. But as soon as we reach an agreement on the terms, we can handle this in writing as we discussed.
So if it's a misdemeanor, Mr. Zamora, you won't have to appear in front of the court again if you sign that plea agreement. If you don't enter into a misdemeanor plea before November 13th at 9 o'clock, then I'll see you back here then, okay? You'll just nod if you understand. Okay, your mic's muted, Mr. Zamora. I'm going to unmute it, or ask you to unmute it. Good. Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. I didn't really hear anything too well. It was cutting off.
Okay. Mr. Zamora, Mr. McKinney stated that hopefully you're going to enter into a plea with the state for a misdemeanor, and you won't have to be here physically to enter that plea. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. If you don't enter the plea to the misdemeanor before November 13th, then I'll see you back here November 13th at 9 o'clock. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
So stay in touch with Mr. McKinney.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Zamora, before you leave, please schedule an appointment with me ASAP so that we can discuss a matter.
I'll get in contact with the office.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Robert Zollner, followed by Taylor Frazier. Mr. Zollner is approaching in 23 CF 721. Judge, we're on the trial docket. We want to remain ready for trial and come back on Thursday morning.
Okay. And I'm sorry, this is who? Zollner?
Robert Zollner,
Good. Got it.
23
Mr. Zollner.
CF 721.
Okay, is there any outstanding offer to Mr. Zollner?
Judge, this is a case we also have the victim subpoenaed for jury review, so we're waiting to see if she complies with that.
Okay. Mr. Zollner, I'll see you Thursday at 9 o'clock, okay? Thank you, sir.
Mr. Frazier is present before the court in 22 CF 1401.
Thanks for dressing up, Mr. Frazier. You look mighty nice.
Thank you. And Judge, we are actually trying to resolve this matter with Mr. Gomez. We're not on the trial docket. I would request a continuance, but I would ask to go ahead and set this for change of plea on October 9th.
Okay, so we'll continue the underlying case. That set you for a plea October 9th at 9 o'clock, okay? Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
Judge, those matters that I have that are...
Mr. McKinney, you also have Ms. Turnage. Came back on. So you want
Ms. Turnage, can you hear us?
Hey, we can hear you.
Hello, I'm having a problem with my video. I don't know what's going on.
And technically, the court had waived her appearance anyhow, so I believe that we could still move forward.
Good.
I've discussed the case with Ms. Turnage over the phone. She lives in Atlanta. And I believe at this point, she is on the trial docket, but I believe that the state is asking for a continuance.
Judge, the defense filed a motion in limine that's going to require some proffering of testimony. I think with the length of what we're going to be talking about, since we have hearings set at 2:30 on our jury review docket, we can't really accommodate those kind of motion hearings anymore the way that our docket's set up. So I'd ask for a hearing date for October. The proffers that we have to do are going to be Walton County deputies, not Okaloosa County deputies. So I'd ask for a hearing date in October for us to address the motion in limine and have one cycle continuance.
Okay. So the case is continued until November 13th at 9. However, Madam Clerk, as far as an afternoon in October, when would you suggest?
The 16th is free in October.
That's the 16th? Okay. October 16th at 1:30.
And Judge, given that my client lives in Atlanta, may she appear via Zoom for those hearings and all hearings prior to jury trial review?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Turnage, did you hear that?
I did hear what you said. I didn't hear what the state's attorney said. I didn't understand what she was saying.
She requested a continuance, and based on the conversation that we had, so that we could hear a motion on the 16th of October. And Judge, may we have another date other than the 16th? And being mindful of my calendar, I'm going to be unavailable on the 16th.
Okay. You want to do it on October 19th?
That would be fine.
Okay. October 19th at 2:30. So, Ms. Turnage, it's October 19th at 2:30.
Ms. Turnage, you can appear.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You can appear via Zoom for that court appearance. You do not need to be here in person. So let's have another phone appointment prior to the 19th of October so that we can discuss exactly when you need to come down in November.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
On a macro point, Ms. Davis, before you leave at the end of today, let's talk about the underlying current of what you said as far as not setting this hearing for Thursday afternoon. So let's talk about scheduling. Should the court hold that afternoon on jury review open for just hearings that relate to the trials? Let's just talk about that. Okay? Good. Okay? Mr. Nettle, are you ready?
Yes, Judge. Let me silence my phone here.
Okay.
Approaching is Cerise Loomis. I spoke to Ms. Loomis at the jail Saturday regarding her concerns about a bond hearing. I advise her that we need to file a motion to get that set, and I think she understands that. I don't know when your next bond hearing date is, but I will file the motion for bond and get it set on that date. And I believe I probably need to do depositions on this VOP case because it's not clear how she came into contact with the police officer. It says something about a missing persons investigation, and that's how she came into contact with the police, but I don't know how or why or whether she was Mirandized or what the situation was. So I think I'll need to do at least one deposition on the arresting officer. I think we need to do that because she's on probation and they gave her a 4-year suspended sentence in that case. So I need to set this for a bond hearing, and then also they need to continue this so I can do depositions.
Okay. Ms. Loomis, as far as your underlying case, I'm setting it for November 13th, but Mr. Nettle can, the first date that I have, Mr. Nettle, is, well, it's probably better October 12th than the 9th as far as the afternoon.
They're about the same.
Okay. October 9th at 1:30.
And that's for the bond hearing, Your Honor?
For the bond hearing, yes, sir.
Thank you.
November 13th be a docket day or pretrial, or is that?
November 13th is pretrial, yes, sir.
Okay. I'll get the bond motion filed and we'll see you on the 9th, or I'll see you before then. But.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Oh, Mr. White.
Judge, Mr. White, I met with him Saturday at the jail. We discussed, as we previously said, getting straight up to the court with the hopes of being sentenced as a youthful offender. Turns out I spoke to his mother. I got permission from Mr. White to speak to his mother. Apparently he's got a case pending in West Palm Beach, and I got his attorney's name down there. I just left a message for him. According to his mother, he was found incompetent, is what she said, in West Palm Beach. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't seen that report. I don't believe that Mr. White is incompetent at this point, based on my observations.
Yes, sir.
But I think I need to get with that first. I mean, two things. I need to get that report so I can review it and make sure we don't have a problem in that area. And secondly, I'm going to try to get that West Palm Beach case transferred up to here so we can take care of everything at once. Okay. I don't know if that's possible. From what I understand, that the state attorney down there has tried to do so, or according to his mother, they tried to get this case, West Palm Beach case, handled here, and haven't been able to get that done.
Okay. So how long do you want to continue?
I think we're set for that November date.
13th? Okay.
However, if I, get everything ready and Mr. White wants to go forward with his plea, I'll move it up to whatever date you have available.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. We can do it. The next couple of weeks we have criminal jury trials. If you want to do it then, just let my JA know. We'll figure out how to make it work. If not, there's early October.
Okay.
Mr. White, I know I ask you every time, but I know your birthday is this month.
It was yesterday.
Yesterday. Happy birthday, Mr. White. It's good seeing you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So I'll see you no later than November 13th, but hopefully I'll see you well before that with something that you agree to. Okay?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
If you grant me the youthful offender, is there like a way that the court ever like given somebody like CC and probation out instead of in time, like time served in time, and then just CC and probation out for how many years?
There's a lot of flexibility on youthful offender.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I think everything's on the table with youthful offender.
I'm just trying to avoid going to prison or any of that stuff. I already been in jail over a year.
I gave you a copy of that statute, didn't I?
No.
Are you sure? I gave it to you yesterday.
I think so.
I gave it to you on Saturday.
Okay.
I gave you the youthful offender statute.
Okay, well, give him another copy.
I'll print it out.
But you're right, Mr. White. There's a lot of latitude. It opens up the court's ability to do a lot of things under that otherwise I couldn't do.
Yes, sir.
Basically 6 years, and it can be probation, community control, or ward incarceration, or a mixture thereof.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Good. So I'll see you no later than November 13th, but hopefully I'll see you well before that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Thanks,
That's
Mr.
all I
Mayor.
have.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Next we have Shannon Moore with Mr. Klein.
Thank you.
Your Honor, this is Ms. Moore. I did talk with Ms. Moore, and she has changed her opinion and does not want to contest Dr. Zena's findings that she's incompetent or his recommendation that she be sent to Florida State Hospital. So at this time, Your Honor, the defense would stipulate to the contents of the report and agree that the court could base its finding on the contents of Dr. Zena's report.
There would be no objection, Your Honor, to that.
Ms. Moore, let me pull that up because I don't have the printed off copy.
No problem, sir.
Your Honor, do you want me to bring you one?
Yes, sir, that would be great.
Yes, sir. Thank you. The court wants to allow. I think we're not going to have an afternoon docket, but.
I do find Ms. Moore incompetent to proceed.
And is the court going to impose Dr. Zeman's recommendation for Florida State Hospital?
Yes, sir.
We will provide an order to the court this afternoon for that.
Okay. So, Ms. Moore, I'll see you after you go to the Florida State Hospital. How long did the doctor say?
3 to 6 months, I think.
I expect this is probably going to be a relatively quick turnaround.
Good. Okay, well, hopefully I'll see you then.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you. All right, thanks, Bob.
Mr. Klein, do you want that report back?
Yes, I do, actually. Yes. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
James Hyam is next.
Hello, Mr. Hyam.
How are you, sir?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
Your Honor, I talked with the state this morning. Mr. Hines is going to be filing and making an ordinance motion to reduce the cash or professional bonds for failing to appear to signature bonds. When Mr. Hines failed to appear in January, this court did not street the bonds. He was in custody in Walton County Jail. So I believe that Ms. Davis is going to stipulate to reducing these to signature bonds. And then from a procedural perspective, we are going to ask the court for a one-cycle continuance. We are deposing the witnesses in 21 CF 3153.
Okay. Is that accurate?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Hyam, you're asking to reinstate his bond?
His bonds were never streeted. But when he went through first appearance, the first appearance court set cash or professional bonds for failing to appear. I think from now on, I'm going to be asking the court to set signature bonds if I'm asking not to street a bond to avoid this situation.
So you want signature bonds for what?
For the bonds that were set when he went through first appearance in late June would be reduced to signature bonds.
Those are converted to signature bonds.
Yes,
so you'll be able to sign out of jail today?
Yes, sir.
And then I'll see you back here November 13th.
Thank you.
At 9 o'clock. Stay in touch with Mr. Clark.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Could Mr. Hine be released on the minutes? I'll get the court in order.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Thank you, yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk before November 13th.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Robert McGaw.
Your Honor, this is Mr. McGaw in 22 CF 2992. He is on the trial docket, and we would just ask that this remain set on the Thursday docket for trial. And the state is potentially there's going to be a plea here, Your Honor, so, but they need to try to talk with this individual.
Okay. Mr. McGaw, I'll see you on Thursday, okay? Thank you, sir.
Tomorrow or Wednesday.
Next we have Angela Pelopito with Mr. Koch. Nope, that's her name.
Yes, sir. Mr. Koch.
Yes, good morning again, Judge. I have Angela Pelopita standing next to me.
Yeah.
Good morning, ma'am.
Judge, you seeking a continuance to the November 13th. My client was arrested on new charges separate from my case, but still on this case, we still need to review body cam and discovery together.
I don't want to keep continuing though. This case has been going on since June.
Okay.
I mean,
So, Mr.
depending
Koch,
on what's going on with it right now, like, if you have a plea, I'll hear it while I'm here.
does the state have an offer?
Hold on, Your Honor, I will pull that up.
I'm sorry. That's the first part of that.
Your Honor, this time the offer was an adjudication, withheld of adjudication, 2 years of probation, $615 in court costs, public defender fee if applicable, substance abuse evaluation within 30 days, and any recommended treatment within 60 days with random urinalysis, 24 hours of community service work.
Okay. Does that include the new case?
That does not include the new case, Your Honor. I don't know what that is.
Okay. So, Ms. Pelopita, I'm sure what Mr. Koch is going to tell you is you can accept the plea to this case, but it doesn't resolve that other case at all.
Right.
So you've got to listen to advice from counsel and you decide what's in your best interest.
I was a little confused at first because I haven't really had a chance with counsel. I think we should push it, but I have.
Yes, Judge, she is set for felony arraignment on the new charges on 10/12. And of course, I told my client we could always enter a global plea that day.
Absolutely. Yes, yes, ma'am. So I'll see you on no later than November 13th, but that's just the backstop. Your attorney can certainly set a hearing before that. Okay?
So you'll be definitely coming. Yep.
Yeah, Your Honor, I just want to make it known. There's actually two, because I just pulled them up. There's two other cases. One of them, it appears is a Crestview case. It may be getting transferred down here.
So, Mr. Koch, follow up on that too.
Yes, Judge.
If you need to transfer it here, then I'll certainly take it.
It's not as bad as it seems, Your Honor.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, good.
Thank you for seeing me today.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Next we have Anthony Patterson.
Thank you.
It's not as bad as it seems, but it's bad.
Well, Mr. Patterson, again. Yes, sir.
Your Honor, may I just have one brief moment?
Sure.
Yes, Your Honor. This would be a change of plea. If I may approach, I have a copy myself.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
It's two cases, Judge. The state had no objection, and I'm seeking from the court if we could enter the plea today, but put sentencing to the I believe I put the 10/19 date, just so my client can get released, get his affairs in order, and he also has some medical appointments he wants to resolve before he goes to prison.
Okay. So if I enter the plea, if I accept the plea today, then he's gonna be released from the jail, so the bond's not gonna be there anymore, right? And then he just needs to show back up on October 19th for sentencing. And if he fails to do that, he's waiving jury trial, he could be sentenced up to 10 years in prison. Is that, I just wanna make sure that Mr. Patterson understands all the ins and outs of this.
Yes, may I just have one brief segment?
And to the state, there may be some ambiguity on whether, and it may probably just turns on the terms of the actual bond contract between the bonding company. If there is a bond that was ever out there. I guess it was probably revoked. So Mr. Patterson's not gonna be under any bond or anything like that between now and the sentencing, just so you know.
No, I understand that. I think the state is okay with this simply because of the understanding that, you know, if Mr. Patterson doesn't show up on the, what is it, the 10/9 date that we agreed upon?
10/19.
10/19 date that we agreed upon, then it's understood that he would be automatically entering into a plea to the bench where he has that exposure of 10
Okay.
15
Mr. Patterson, I think I made that more complicated than it needed to be. If you'll raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, sir. You can put your hand down. Mr. Patterson, are you currently under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No, sir.
Have you ever been treated for any mental illness or emotional disturbance, or are you suffering from any of those at this time?
Sir.
How far did you go in school?
Graduate.
From high school?
Yes, sir.
Did you read the plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Did you discuss it with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Did he answer all of your questions?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Did you sign the plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Patterson, here's what I hear, is that I would accept the plea today if you still want me to. And the sentencing would be on September 19th at 9 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
If you failed to show up then you, instead of being sentenced to 15.45 months in prison, you could be sentenced up to 10 years in prison. Do
Yes,
you
sir.
understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you still wish to enter the plea?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Patterson, I do accept your plea. I find that you're alert and intelligent, that your plea is freely and voluntarily entered, that you understand the nature of the charges against you,
Yes,
and are
sir.
represented by competent counsel. You're satisfied with Mr. Koch's representation,
Yes, sir.
of whom you state you are satisfied. You find that there is a factual basis for acceptance of the plea. So, Mr. Patterson, I'll see you back here October 19th at 9 o'clock, okay?
Can you have that down on the call for me? I will. Don't forget.
Probably a great idea, yes, ma'am. He can immediately be released from jail. He can immediately be released under the terms of the plea agreement.
So we're going home today.
Ready, Flynn Smith with Mr. McCain.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Mr. Smith, the folks in the gallery have all been waiting for you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Judge, Mr. Flynn Smith is before the court in 22 CF 1956 and 22 CF 962. We have been in communication with the state attorney, who is Michelle Sandler, for these matters. We are attempting to resolve these matters. We do not have details or terms today, but I'd like the ability to add this back onto an early court date. We are tracking towards completing the remaining amount of depositions in November. So I anticipate that we should be complete with the discovery work by November 8th, assuming that all the depositions are completed. The goal is to try to get this resolved prior to that, but I wanted to give the court an idea of where we're going in the roadmap.
Okay. So, Mr. Smith, I'm gonna set it for November 13th. If you're still incarcerated, it'll be that afternoon, 2 o'clock, and you'll appear via Zoom. I'm saying that for the benefit of the folks in the gallery. If you wish to resolve it before that date, Mr. McKinney can set it for next week, the week after that, just about any week between now and then. Okay. And I'm putting it for trial next time. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Next we do Douglas Paulson, Mr. Koch.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes, Judge, I have Mr. Paulson to my left. He is here on 4 cases. The case number ending in 878, that's the motion to compel that we withdrew. We did receive body cam, all discovery on pretrial dates. I still need time to review the discovery in that case of my client, so I'm asking to place this on that November 13th pretrial date, Judge.
Mr. Paulson, do you understand what your attorney's doing on your cases?
Yeah.
Do you agree to the continuance?
Yeah.
I'll see you back here no later than November 13th.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
George Perone.
Judge, may I have just a brief moment?
Yes, sir. Morning.
Yes, Judge. It seems like this is going to be a plea. I was going to seek a continuance on some other grounds, but my client just said he'd like to accept the offer.
Okay.
Could we set this for Thursday?
Sure. What is going to be the sentence?
It should be 11/29, Judge.
Mr. Perone, I asked that because I think if you're going to get out of jail today, let's make sure it happens today. But so I'll see you Thursday at 9 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yep.
Nathan Swan.
Thank you.
Judge, if I just may have a moment
Sure.
for a signature.
Or Mr. Swan.
I'm nervous about this.
Well, let's see. Let's talk about it.
So this is what we went over. Do you like time to talk about this?
I just want to get this over with, you know what I mean? Just if I'm gonna do good, I'm gonna do good. If not, I'm not.
Judge, this would be a change of plea.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor,
Change of plea.
to enter no contest.
All right.
It's okay. Judge, this would be a no contest plea. Counts 1 and counts 2 be adjudicated guilty. Credit for time served. He'll be placed on 24 months of community control. After the 24 months, they'll be followed by 1 year standard probation. A client will have to get a substance abuse evaluation, any recommended treatment, random urinalysis, complete 48 hours of community service, and there'll be no trespass at the Petro gas station. And the address is 245 Miracle Strip Parkway, Southwest, and that's in Fort Walton Beach, Florida.
And on top of that,
Judge, may I just have one?
Yes.
One again? So,
Swan. Nathan Swan.
so that's it. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Count, and there'd also be court costs, Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
and
$100, $150 public defender's fee, $40 per month cost of supervision. Okay, so that's counts 1 and 2. What about count 3?
it'd be adjudicated guilty and credit time served, Judge.
And that's a misdemeanor?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, 2 is also a misdemeanor, Madam Clerk says. So that's just time served.
Your Honor, I have count 2 possession of controlled substance. Count 1 is, sell manufacture.
Yes, sir.
So I have F2 on count 1, F3 on count 2.
have a first degree misdemeanor for count 2 is a marijuana possession, not over 23.
Right. She's got 2 and 3. Marijuana possession on 2, narcotic equipment on 3.
Your Honor, if I have a moment, I'll correct the police one. Thank you. Madam Clerk.
So it would just be time served on counts 2 and 3, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Educated time served.
Yes.
Excuse me. Judge, may I have one more?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yep. Judge, may I approach?
Please. Mr. Swan, if you'll raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You can put your hand up. So, Mr. Swan, let's talk about what I had observed. You came out shaking your head no. You've shaken your head a lot of no. This is your time to, first off, you got to understand what the heck's going on. So, if you don't understand something, then let's stop and let's make sure that you
I fully understand, but since I've been 16, I've been in and out of the court system, and I understand that I'm a on current going inmate. I'm seeing a lot, but this time I got out of prison, I did good for a whole year, and I got caught with a 0.2 of methamphetamines. And
okay, wait, let's not talk about the case. Haven't accepted your plea. I don't want it to be used against you. So let's just talk about the sentence. So if you
I need to get home to my family because my grandma is sick, my girlfriend's pregnant.
Right.
So I'm gonna do whatever I have to do as a man to be there for them. But I'm just thinking that this is a little this is a little much. You know what I mean? Like just a little leniency is all I was asking. You know what I mean? And but if this is what the lady wants out of me, then I'm gonna have to do it. But we all know this is a little unfair.
Well, it's totally up to you whether you want to accept what the state's.
Sir, I'm gonna have to accept it no matter what. My family's sick; they need me.
Okay. So, Mr. Swan, you would be adjudicated guilty, be sentenced to time served on 2 of the counts. You'd be sentenced to 24 months community control, followed by 1 year.
Which is completely unfair.
Well, you don't have to enter it. We can go to a jury trial. The jury can determine if you're guilty, and then I can sentence you after I hear from you and the state.
It's okay, sir. I'm gonna have to take the offer no matter what.
Okay.
I'm thankful to be going home. It's just unfortunate on these circumstances. Is all I'm saying.
Right, and one of the things that I ask is, do you think it's in your best interest to enter the plea? I don't say, are you happy with it?
I talked to my lawyer, and he said this is the best thing smoking. So
well,
he doesn't think he doesn't think it's gonna get any better than this. So if that's him being honest, then I have to go with it.
Okay. To the state?
Judge, just to make sure that we're clear on the record, the issue from the state's perspective is Mr. Swan entered a plea last year to very similar charges, where he accepted a plea of 13.5 months with the Department of Corrections. So here we are in less than a year. He has accrued the basically the same manufacturer delivered charges. So that's where the state has a sticking point. He scores 42.7 points right now, so we're trying to give him the opportunity to do better. There was no probation to follow on the previous case, and so the thought process from the state's perspective is, you know, a step down procedure of going from incarceration to community control to regular probation.
Yes.
That, you know, trying to control the environment a little bit, so that way Mr. Swan can, you know, control what he does.
Have the best chance of success.
Yes, Judge.
Understand. Mr. Swan, do you want to accept this offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you understand that you're waiving your right to a trial by jury?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you read the plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Did you discuss it with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Did he answer all of your questions?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Did you sign the plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Swan, I do accept your plea. You're sentenced to credit for time served in all 3 of the counts, but in count 1, it's followed by 24 months community control, and that's followed by 1 year of probation. You'll need to submit to a substance abuse evaluation within 30 days from today. If any treatment's recommended, you begin that within no later than 60 days from today. You'll need to submit to random urinalysis, have no trespassing at the Petro gas station that was stated on the record. You'll need to perform 48 hours of community service work. You'll need to pay the court costs, $150 public defender's fee. How much money were you making per month, Mr. Swan, before you went in? Before you were
Not much.
how much do you think you were averaging making?
I couldn't give you an exact answer, sir.
When's the last time you've had a job?
I work at Burger King.
Okay.
So probably about $600 every 2 weeks.
Okay. Mr. Swan, I do waive the cost of supervision for the first year, okay? So you don't have to pay the $40, but after that you will need to pay the $40.
$4,800?
$40 per month cost of supervision.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. As it gets close to the end of that year, if you go, I'm not making any more money, it's really hard for me to make ends meet, file just a handwritten motion with the court and say, Judge, will you modify and waive the $40 in the future because I need it, and then let the court decide, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Mr. Swan, anything else? I missed? Mr. Swan, I wish you the best, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rodriguez Barnes is Mr. name. Sean,
Thank you.
over there.
I am Jason McKinney, and I represent Maria Rodriguez Barnes in 20 CF 801. Ms. Rodriguez Barnes is charged with first-degree premeditated murder. As we make record today, Judge, is there anybody in the waiting room? Because I know that her father was attempting to get on Zoom to see her today for the court appearance. We had requested a continuance and explained to the court where we're at in this case at pretrial. Over video, I wanted the opportunity to be in the courtroom to make record with Ms. Rodriguez Barnes.
Right.
We are trying to complete the outstanding depositions in this case on November 8th. The assistant state attorney is Michelle Sandler. We are trying to track towards having all of the defense expert work done into the state and have the remaining depositions completed in time to hopefully get this case to trial in January of next year. So that is our goalpost at this point that we are trying to make. So I do want Ms. Rodriguez Barnes to come back next cycle to make additional records to keep track on where we're at. I would ask that her appearance be waived at the pretrial court date if it is via Zoom.
Okay.
To have another court appearance on docket day in November.
And have Ms. Rodriguez Barnes here live on docket.
Correct.
Okay. So, do you agree to that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you agree to the continuance? You understand what Mr. McKinney's doing in your case?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'll see you back here no later than the docket day, which is November 20th. Okay?
Sir.
And Judge, can we have that primarily for status? We do then anticipate announcing ready for trial at that time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Sounds good. Thank you, ma'am.
So do you want to still set on the 13th?
as well, or just?
If you could have it on the 13th, we'll just wait for appearance.
Okay.
Thank you.
Straight up.
This is Michael Rice before the court. You okay?
Yeah.
Everything is the same as yesterday? And then he's not on us, or it is a valid departure. Mr. Rice is here in 23 CF 582 and 23 CF 580. We have reached an agreement for a plea as charged in both cases. The agreement calls for an agreed upon downward departure, 4 years of state probation. Special conditions would include no contact with Kevin Harper, common spelling, no trespass at 128 Cayman Way, Destin, Florida, 32541. Restitution will be ordered in the amount of $8,200 to Kevin Harper at the same address. Also, no contact with Eric Smith, common spelling, no trespass at 63 Pompano Street in Destin, Florida. Court costs are in the amount of $515 in each case, and a total of $250 cost of defense. Judge, on this plea agreement that Mr. Rice has already signed, I wrote $515 court cost, and I'm going to indicate that that's times 2. And I'm going to indicate that it is a total of $250 cost of defense, not $150. Mr. Rice, if you agree to that, would you initial?
And it's $40 per month cost of supervision, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And adjudication of guilt?
Yes, adjudicated guilty on all counts. Mr. Rice does have a hold for Walton County in a case that he has to handle there before he can actually start the report to probation. He's been instructed that even if he gets released in Walton County, he must report to Fort Walton Beach at 13 Kelly Avenue.
Good.
May I approach?
Please. Has Mr. Rice been adjudicated guilty of a felony in the past?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Rice, if you'll please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. You can get your hand down. Mr. Rice, are you, did you read the plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Did you discuss it with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Did he answer all of your questions?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Did you sign the plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
Did you say?
Judge, this is an agreed upon downward departure, and I want to make sure. We're going to go ahead and hand him the score sheet now.
Good. Thank you. Mr. Rice, did you sign the plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rice, I do accept your plea. You're adjudicated guilty. You're sentenced to 4 years probation, and that's to run concurrently, run at the same time between each case and count. You'll have no contact with the 2 individuals that your attorney stated on the record and also in the written plea agreement. No trespass at the 2 addresses in the plea agreement. You need to pay restitution in the amount of $8,200. You need to pay the court costs, $250 public defender's fee, $40 per month cost of supervision, and this is a downward departure.
Judge, because of the amount of restitution and given that you've been incarcerated for about 15 months, right?
16.
Judge, he's been incarcerated between Santa Rosa County and here approximately 16 months. Would the court consider waiving the cost of supervision?
Mr. Rice, how much money were you making before you went into jail?
Well, not that much. I wasn't doing all that well.
Okay. What do you think you average making per month?
2,000 a month, something like that.
And that was for an extended period of time before you, 2,000 a month was about the maximum you were making?
Yeah, it's about that, yeah.
Okay. Because of the amount of restitution, I do waive the cost of supervision.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. And there's no earlier termination for Mr. Rice if he pays off the restitution?
Judge, he can always request early termination from the court. I don't believe that there's anything in this agreement that is an automatic early termination.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Rice. Good luck.
Thank you.
Sir.
Appreciate it. That's it.
Judge, this is Eric Smithwick before the court.
Thank you.
Mr. Smithwick is here in 22 CF 680. And Judge, this is not on your Honor's trial docket for next week, but we are trying to move this case towards a trial, so we would announce trial next time. We're trying to wrap up our remaining expert work, and we'd like a date in October that I can get with Ms. Berkman and schedule for pre-trial motions. ahead of us coming back on the next cycle. So we'd like to go ahead and start moving this forward toward a trial.
Okay. So you want,
November 13th for pretrial.
correct,
And
and then
I'll-
is October 16th at 1:30, is that?
Judge, if we have pretrial motions that are filed, then it would be noticed for that date. I just wanted to put it on the record. Looking for a time period there. I don't think it needs to be scheduled today.
Okay, good. I appreciate it. So I'll see you no later than November 13th, Mr. Smithwick. Hopefully I'll see you before that for those motions. Okay? So thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Will do. I don't know if it's gonna be Friday, but I'll try to get up. I don't think it'll be Friday, but I'll try to get out there as soon as I can.
Oh, Mr. Swain.
So this is Antonio Swain. Mr. Swain is before the court in two case numbers, but the primary case number is 22 CF 1589. That is the case that is on the trial docket. This is a charge as a trafficking case with a 25-year minimum mandatory sentence. And in meeting with Mr. Swain last week and yesterday, Mr. Swain has instructed me to ask for a continuance in this matter. He is attempting to get me defense witnesses to provide to the state for individuals that were inside a home prior to him walking to a vehicle. Shortly thereafter, there was a traffic stop of that vehicle. So Mr. Swain has been able to give me an address and some semblance of a first name, but I do not have full names yet. But as soon as I get full names, I can send those to the state. The reason I'm making this record is that I know that as soon as I send reciprocal witnesses for the defense, that the state's likely going to want to know who they are if they make a difference in their case. So based on that, I am requesting a continuance for Mr. Swain at his request.
To the state?
Judge, we ask that this case remain ready for trial. We've sent subpoenas actually for both cases to do the VOP at the same time as the new law. So that's why we're looking for the end of the first week, based on the communication that I've had with especially my probation officer of when their schedule would actually accommodate hearing the case. So at this point, we remain ready for trial. Mr. Swain has had since June of 2022 to provide any kind of defense witnesses, and we remain ready for trial.
Mr. McKinney, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Swain, I'm going to keep it on, just based on what I've heard, I'm going to keep it on for trial. So I'll see you on Thursday. See you Thursday morning. If there's any other motions or anything, then I'll deal with those and hear those then. But we'll look at going to trial, sounds like the end of next week. But I'll see you on Thursday, okay? Thank you.
Marquise Watson.
Thank you.
Go check.
Oh, Mr. Watson.
Do you have a chance to read it, sir? Yes, sir. Judge, this is Mr. Marquise Watson before the court in 23 CF 1647. We have reached an agreement with the state. And I did review a plea agreement with Mr. Watson yesterday at the jail. We finalized some of those terms in the courtroom today, and he's had a chance to review this in the back. The agreement that's been reached with the state is a plea as charged. Adjudication will be withheld. Mr. Watson will be placed on 3 years of probation with special conditions that he complete an anger management course and mental health evaluation within 30 days and a treatment within 60 days. No contact with the victim, no trespass at the victim's address. $515 in court costs, $150 cost of defense, and a $40 a month cost of supervision. May I approach with this plea agreement?
Yes, sir, thank you. Mr. Watson, if you'll raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. You can put your hand down. Mr. Watson, did you read the plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Did you discuss it with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Did he answer all of your questions?
He did.
Were you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Did you sign the plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Watson, I do accept your plea. Adjudication is withheld. You're sentenced to 3 years probation. You need to enter and successfully complete the anger management course. You'll need to submit to a mental health evaluation within 30 days from today. Begin any treatment if it's recommended within 60 days from today. You have no contact with the alleged victim, no trespassing at the victim's residence.
Madam Clerk, the victim's name is Yannick Squire. First name is Y-A-N-I. Address.
You'll need to pay the court costs, $150 public defender's fee, $40 per month cost of supervision. Thank you, sir. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Be sure you report to probation as soon as you get out.
Good morning, sir.
May I have just a moment, Judge?
Yes,
For
sir.
the score sheet for Mr. Watson, since the state is paperless now, they like to see our paper. How are you?
I was going to ask if Judge Steen still uses paper, but he's not in criminal at this moment.
Judge, this is Broderick Weathersby before the court in 22 CF 2782. Mr. Weathersby has signed a plea agreement for a plea to a lesser included offense in count 1 of grand theft auto, third-degree felony. Counts 2, 3, and 4 are going to be pleas as charged. The agreement calls for an adjudication of guilt in the felony counts, which are 1 and 4. It's going to be an 18-month Department of Corrections sentence with credit for all time served, no probation. In the misdemeanor counts 2 and 3, you'll be time served at the Okaloosa County Jail, no probation. Madam Clerk, I wrote $622 as the court cost because I believe that the misdemeanor battery carries the highest court cost. Certainly correct me if I'm wrong.
The fleeing and elude will be the $548, and then it will also be the $201 and $151, so whatever that adds up to be.
I'll defer to Madam Clerk for the court cost. Do you have any objection to that? And the $150 cost of defense. May I approach with this plea agreement?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Judge, may I approach with the score sheet for Mr. Watson?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mr. Weathersby, if you'll raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. You can put your hand out. Mr. Weathersby, are you currently under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No, sir.
Have you ever been treated for any mental illness or emotional disturbance, or are you suffering from any of those at this time?
No, sir.
How far did you go in school?
I graduated 12th grade.
Good. Did you read the plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Did you discuss it with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Did he answer all of your questions?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Did you sign the plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Weathersby, did anyone force, threaten, or coerce you into entering the plea?
No, sir.
Mr. Weathersby, I do accept your plea. I find that you're alert and intelligent, that your plea is freely and voluntarily entered, that you understand the nature of the charges against you, and are represented by competent counsel. I do find that there's a factual basis for the entering of the plea. You're adjudicated guilty in each count. You're sentenced to credit for time served in counts 2 and 3. You're sentenced to 18 months with the Department of Corrections with credit for all time served in counts 1 and 4. And those are to run concurrently, run at the same time. You also need to pay the court costs, $150 public defender's fee, and those amounts will go to a civil lien or judgment. Mr. Weathersby, you do have 30 days to appeal this judgment and sentence. If you wish to appeal, it must be in writing. If you cannot afford an attorney to represent you for that appeal, one may be appointed for you. Do you understand your appellate rights?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And Judge, no objections to the prior record listed on the score sheet. I believe the state will be submitting a score sheet and to your honor that has the lesser included reflected
Okay, thank you.
What statute number?
for the Grand Theft Auto.
It's gonna be 812.0141A.
I would agree with that.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Rogers.
Thank you.
Mr. Burley White.
Thank you.
Yeah, everything's clear, Doctor? Sign it, take it. Judge, this is Burley White before the court in 22 CF 1779. We have reached an agreement. Mr. White is going to be entering a plea of no contest as charged. The agreement calls for an adjudication of guilt, time served in the Okaloosa County Jail, $515 in court costs, $150 cost of defense. May I approach that plea agreement?
Yes, sir, thank you. Mr. White, if you'll raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. You can put your hand up. Mr. White, did you read the plea agreement?
Yes.
Do you understand it?
Yes.
Did you sign it?
Yes.
Mr. White, I do accept your plea. You're adjudicated guilty. You're sentenced to credit for time served. You'll need to pay the court costs, $150 public defender's fee. About how long will it take you to pay? About $800.
Now I'm in it for 40 days now, so.
When you get out?
Yeah, that about 2 months or so. It's 2 months.
Judge, could we ask for 6 months just to
Yes, sir.
be safe?
Mr. White, if you fail to pay it within 6 months, then it will go to a civil lien review. Okay? Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Judge, this is Mr. Michael Wilson. Mr. Wilson is here in 23 CF 638. That is the case that's on the trial docket and that we're going to be entering a plea to. Additionally, Mr. Wilson has 2 felony violations of probation. Those are not listed on this plea agreement, not part of this agreement. In 23 CF 638, Mr. Wilson will be entering a plea as charged for an adjudication of guilt. Time served, $515 in court costs, $150 cost of defense.
Okay?
May I approach?
Yes, sir. So, Mr. McKinney, is Mr. Wilson going to be able to get out of jail today, or is he going to remain in jail because of the VOP?
Judge, he's going to remain in jail because of the VOPs. I would ask for those to be scheduled on your next miscellaneous date, which would be the October 9th date.
Okay, at 9?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Wilson, if you raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. You can put your hand down. Mr. Wilson, did you read the plea agreement?
Yes, sir, I did.
Do you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Did you sign it?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Wilson, the reason why I asked that about you getting out is I wanted to make sure, and you nodded when I said that, you knew that you were going to remain in jail because of the VOP case.
Judge, in speaking with the state, can we just leave this on Thursday to resolve the violations of probation then?
Yes, sir. Okay. But, Mr. Wilson, I Just wanted to make sure that you knew that the entering of this plea agreement won't get you out of jail today. You understand that?
Oh, yes, sir, I'm aware.
Okay. I do accept your plea. You're adjudicated guilty. You're sentenced to credit for time served. You'll need to pay the court cost, $150 public defender's fee. I don't know how long to say for that to go to a civil lien.
Judge, I would ask for 6 months upon his release.
Okay, so 6 months after you're released, that'll go to a civil lien or judgment. But I'll see you on Thursday on both of your VOPs. Madam Clerk, do you have those numbers?
I do. Do you want them to send in the morning or the afternoon?
Morning.
Good. I'll see you Thursday.
Yep.
Thank you. Oh, Mr. Wolf.
Judge, this is Mr. Joseph Wolf before the court in 23 CF 1220. Last Friday, I appeared with Mr. Wolf in front of Judge Mason for Veterans Court. So he is rescheduled with Judge Mason, I believe, on the 13th of October. And we're moving forward and trying to get Mr. Wolf into Veterans Court. I believe that's going to be his best option if it's available to him, so we're exploring that option. And I just asked for a continuance in this courtroom until the 13th of November, understanding that Mr. Wolf will be seen in vet court before then.
Good, excellent. Mr. Wolf, I hope you get in Veterans Court. Great program. They have a lot of different tools that I don't have, so I hope you get in there. If you don't get in there, then I'll see you on November 13th. Okay, thank you, sir.
One in the gallery, Tammy Layton.
Good, honestly.
Your Honor, this is Miss Layton. She was having car trouble last week, so we kept her on for today. However, I do intend on taking depositions and anticipate probably a motion to suppress being filed. Given that, I would ask the court for a one-cycle continuance.
Okay. Ms. Layton, do you understand what Mr. Kleins is doing in your case? Do you agree to the continuance?
Yes, sir.
I'll see you back here on November 13th at 9 o'clock. If the state offers you something that you want to accept before that date, Mr. Kleins can set a hearing before then, okay? Thank you.
Your Honor, I have one matter that's not on the docket, but late Friday afternoon, Mr. Sanchez with the Agency for Persons with Disabilities informed me that Mr. Dunford could potentially be evaluated for competency tomorrow, as long as he has a copy of a signed order. I have a printed copy of this order.
Yes, sir.
Kind of unusual, but I would ask the court to sign it and then give it back to me so I can email it to him directly after I eat lunch, and then I will e-file it this afternoon if that's
Madam
even
Clerk's
possible.
not gonna like that with the flood.
Or Madam Clerk, could you email me a copy of the signed order? Awesome. I'll give you my card. I just need a copy of the signed order so I can email it directly to Mr. Sanchez today.
Do you want him to follow you and you hand him a copy of it? You want a document? You want a document first?
Yeah, this is the.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, I already told Mr. Sanchez I'd
Yeah.
give him an email copy of it today. That's all I have.
Anybody else?
We don't.
Okay. Good. Madam Clerk?
Okay, I have Valerie Lynn Spiller with Mr. Koch.
Mr. Koch?
Yes, Your Honor. This case we set for today, this was it's an older case. I filed a motion to compel. This one had no discovery yet. This, why we're here today on this case. I don't know if the state.
Do you have any discovery for Mr. Koch?
Judge, so this is the one that the documents were going to somebody else's email, not to me. So we didn't really know what was going on with it. So after court last week, my assistant reached out to DCF to try to get the records. So I have the email chain where we've been in touch with DCF to try to get the physical records. As we don't have the file in the office anymore because of going paperless, then things that were in FTA status or, you know, whatever, they got taken to Pensacola to be digitized. So it's somewhere stuck over there, is the best I can tell you as far as the physical file goes. So we're trying to regain copies of everything for Ms. Spiller's case to then send over to the public defender's office.
Mr. Hutch, what do you want to do on the case?
Judge, I have no objection to state seeking continuance in this matter.
What I can say is on September 14th, Ms. Wilkes from DC said that she would have the documents in the mail on the 14th.
Okay, good. So it's continued to one cycle.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Who else?
30 Christopher Stone, Mr. Koch.
Yes, Your Honor. This is a trial while I suspended felony case. He offers credit time. My client's going to accept that offer. He works for Overhead Electric Judge. The parent company is out of Michigan, but he's been stationed all through the Southeast because of the hurricanes. Could I schedule this for Thursday? This will be a plea.
So it's a felony? He's pleading to a felony or misdemeanor?
Yes, felony driver while I suspended, Judge.
Yes, sir. Set it for Thursday and we do it via Zoom?
That's what I was going to request, Judge.
Yes, sir. So Thursday, we.
Okay, I have James Allen Williamson and Mr.
Judge, that's a matter that was set over for status. Mr. Williamson is located in the Florida State Hospital.
Yes, sir.
There was a report that I saw that was generated on September 1st, I believe.
August 30th.
That indicates that he is.
Filed on September 1st.
I believe that indicates that he is still incompetent to proceed. So I believe the most appropriate action would be to take him off of the docket until we receive word from Florida State Hospital that he is being returned.
Any objection?
No, Judge.
The court does find him still incompetent to proceed. So we're going to set it 6 months out, or?
Judge, I believe if we just take it off the docket, then it should be Florida State Hospital who files these every 6 months with the court.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Then I have Elisa Reyes Okaloosa with Mr. Arrowood, who filed a notice of appearance last week and waived her appearance.
Okay. What do you wish to do on that case?
Judge, with the filings, I think at this point, we just do a one-time continuance. I have recently been in touch with Mr. Arrowood about other cases, so I think he is back on the move again. So I don't see an issue with just a one-time continuance.
Okay, it's continued once.
Well, Judge, as a friend of the court, she was present in the courtroom earlier this morning.
Good. Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. Anything else for the good of the court?
Madam Clerk, we should have Nikki Smith on the docket in 21 CF 2090 and 21 CF 3255, which is a status with her appearance waived.
Okay, so what's going on with Ms.
Judge,
Smith?
she has already been placed on the November 13th docket for pretrial. We left it up today just a status. I need to get with Mr. Gomez about setting a restitution amount. I went through the depositions over the weekend and trying to identify a specific amount. That's something I need to get with Mr. Gomez about so that we can file a notice of assessment in one of these cases.
Thank you.
There is
you
a matter.
mentioned about going through things over the weekend. It certainly is noted by the court, you know, meeting with inmates and the work that you do over the weekend. The court certainly appreciates it.
Judge, there is a matter off the docket. May I ask if we address Gordon Taylor? It's 3 case numbers, Madam Clerk. It's set for sentencing on the 21st at 2:30. And there is an outstanding mitigation report being prepared by Dr. McDonald that is not going to be ready in time. So I'm going to request that we come back on October 12th at 2:30 for sentencing. Madam Clerk, the case numbers are 21 CF 1243, 21 CF 3268, and 22 CF 54.
Any objection from the state?
No, Judge.
Okay, it's continued until October 12th at 2:30.
And I've met with Mr. Taylor at the jail and he understands the delay.
Excellent. Thank you. Anything else? Okay. Where everybody doesn't have to stay, Ms. Davis, if you'll follow me out, and anybody else, any of the other attorneys that want to talk outside of the courtroom where security doesn't have to stay here, about whether the court should schedule any other hearings other than leave it open for hearings that may relate to going to trial on calendar, jury review day. Or if y'all want to throw out what you think. Not set hearings, do set hearings that afternoon, other than jury review?
Oh, I always like that, Judge. So, I mean, the defense perspective is that we'd like that time to keep things on track.
Right.
If that time is available. I know that a lot of times this week we have a lot of time with sentencings that are necessary to move forward too. But it's a very difficult schedule to have pretrial court dates the week before we come back and have a holiday and then have trials. So it doesn't build in a whole lot of time to do work that we typically need to in doing jury instructions and motions and limiting and all those type of things.
So you want miscellaneous motions in addition to whatever's relates to the trials that are going on jury review?
Ideally, I think those cases should take precedence, but if the court doesn't schedule it ahead of time too on the other stuff, then sometimes that time's not going to be utilized. So it's kind of a catch-22.
But it can help us with going over, because I know Your Honor likes for us to be able to go over jury instructions. You know, like we're not preparing for substantive hearings on jury review, that we're just focused on, you know, whatever is set for trial. And then, I mean, I think that it doesn't really cause a whole lot of issues for having the plea day docket on that afternoon. I don't think it's a huge problem. So I think we can still keep that, but it still would really help with moving forward with, even if we don't take up the full time with motions, you know, motions in limine for the trials, it still would give us the opportunity to work with jury instructions and you know, maybe evidence stipulations, those kind of things that we end up doing the morning of trial, and nobody's happy about that.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, I just want to put, like, I think the way the cycle is now, we have a Monday of a pretrial date, and then 7 days later we have docket day, 3 days later jury review. We set, how many cases were set on pretrial? There was close to 40-something cases set on pretrial. If we're expected to have substantive motions on jury review, I don't understand where because the state isn't, and I understand from the defense's perspective you want to move cases, but the state's the only one that's on every single one of these cases. So when you're asking us to then shift our focus from the substantive motions and all of that we would have on that Thursday of jury review, it begs the question, when are we supposed to figure out what cases are supposed to go? Because I mean, like, for example, we got subs out on, I think I had 15 or 16 cases myself on the Monday of pretrial. We're just now getting the responses to those subs back. And so we're working through and trying to figure out not only the scheduling on those cases, but also the trial strategy on those cases. And then we're expected to also be prepared for VOP evidentiary hearings, and then completely shift our mindset.
So I will do my best at trying to hold off scheduling anything for the afternoon of jury review other than what relates to the trial. Because then you can focus on the trial and not on these other things. Okay, and help me in that regard. Okay. Yes, ma'am. That was fine. Okay, anything else? Thanks, y'all. Thank you for a long morning. We're adjourned.